All right, what is going on, everyone? And welcome back to the Mets Weekly Podcast as we are live at this very moment on YouTube and on X to discuss the latest spring training, I guess. I don't know. Latest offseason news and rumors in New York Mets land. But before we get into that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel for new episodes of our show that are regularly recorded live now Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time throughout spring training before we get into the regular season. If you're watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation in the future, make sure to turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok for more content over there. For audio listeners, make sure to follow us on all your favorite listening platforms to not miss the audio version of new episodes that go up at 9 a.m. the following day. Also, make sure to give us a 5-star review. That'd be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get into episode number 187 of our show. And Frank, you've been in and out all off season. It's been scattered around, but you know what? We've been able to get you at the right points at least. But you're back for this episode where we get to kind of recap the offseason for the headliner of today's show.
Yes, it was a busy offseason for the Mets for sure. I mean, there's a lot of new faces. They've lost a lot of guys. They've added a lot of guys. So it's going to be a lot of moves to talk about. And it's going to be a very interesting season. I think we said that when it ended, we were like, okay, that was unacceptable. You got to change it. They fired a bunch of coaches. We said, okay, that's one route you can go. But then they changed a bunch of their players. So, I mean, it's like, will they be better next year? You hope so, but it sure should be different. I mean, that's at least that should happen. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, time will tell.
All right. Well, Andrew, you were here last time as well. We were talking about some of the last things to wrap up for the rest of the offseason. And seems like we are here. Pitchers or catchers have reported to Port St. Lucie. Who knows if they make any other moves? I think it's all really going to be relatively small at this current moment, but it looks like you're starting to strap together, trying to go down to Port St. Lucie, get some autographs as well. That's your usual thing. But yeah, we're getting close to baseball games being played.
Yeah, again, it's starting to look like spring. It's warm. I mean, it's been warm here all freaking year, but getting warm. Players are down in Florida, Arizona. Again, there's a couple of free agents hanging out. The Mets don't look to be in that market again, especially for Zach Gallen or whoever's left out there. But again, this is most likely the team. Again, would I be surprised if there's more like Vidal Brujan and MJ Melendez type moves? Maybe a couple more of those type of guys. But I think this is the team we've got, barring injuries. Again, I don't even think we're getting that. I don't even think we'll get that desperate of a move, barring especially with the depth that Stearns has built up. But like Frank said, it's a different team. It's a bunch of different faces, which is kind of good because we've been doing the same thing over and over and over again. And maybe a past regime, they would have just ran it over again. But at least I'd rather try this and take a step where the unknown is where you knew what you had. And they decided to blow it to hell. And there's nothing wrong with that. And again, it's good for me. I got those dudes. I got all them guys. I'm tired of getting those guys. I want some new guys. And I got about 17 new former All-Stars. So that works for me. It's going to be down there next week. Duffy's, autographs, baseball, spring training, Olympic hockey. There's no better time going.
Yeah. I mean, I like this time of year, obviously, because then you can also add in March Madness. March Madness is always fun. I know that, for anybody who's not a big college basketball fan, but it is always fun because it's a marathon of games. Either way, you guys may notice that we have a little bit of a different format here on the screen. I figured that it was time for a new change. We've got a new season coming up. Also, I think I've been meaning to change it for a while because I do think that a lot of our viewers were having a difficulty reading a lot of things on the screen. I've had a lot of people message me and like say in the comments as well, saying, okay, well, we can only really watch your show on computer. And that, again, a lot of people watch on their phone as well, so they can read everything else. So I figured less is more at this current moment, and we will maneuver different things. We'll have some new segments. We'll add some stuff that will be coming up. But as for this episode, we do have a special guest joining us, and he has been on our show many, many times before, more than we can count. Please help us welcome back John Saponaro from TilMetsDoUsPart. John, great to have you on. Your partner Ibby last time was on here solo. So we're going to cancel that out with you being on here solo. So it only makes sense. But welcome back.
It is nice to be back. It is nice to be back with all three of you. I don't remember the last time that all of us were together doing a show because, like you said, we've done this a lot, and but it's always a good time. I'm looking forward to it. It's a bummer Ibby can't be here, but yeah, you're right. Last time I had to duck out kind of last minute-ish, and he carried the load for TilMetsDoUsPart, so I'm happy to return the favor to him. And also, I think at the time I said that I owed you guys one, and so I'm happy that I can be here and do this show with you because it's a fun time of year, like you said.
Yeah, well, I think exactly a year ago today, I don't think if you line up the dates completely, but we were here for Pitchers and Catchers reporting, and we did our off-season grades, which we are going to get into later on in the show before we have few more major topics to go over. However, everybody's excited. I mean, again, like Andrew already said, new faces, new team, new look, a new look that this team, I believe, needed. After failing as much as they did. And even though it looks as a harsh reality and maybe there's a little bit of unknown, I think that change is good as of right now for a team that has had a lot of losing ways in their history. I mean, it's something that I think is something they have to veer off of. And, when you talk about a team that can't make the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, it seems like throughout 60 years, change had to be made, and we will get into that change later on. But as for some of you guys in the chat, say hello to them. We've got Brad in here saying it's time to rock and roll, guys. LGM, absolutely. Baseball is upon us. We've got Armand in the chat. We have Daniel Caps. We have Tony, not the Tony that we know, one of our friends who actually is in Port St. Lucie right now. So Brad saying, welcome back, Frank. Daniel Cap saying, who's that guy in the middle? I think he was referring to you because we have not really seen you as much. Game for War saying, Frank is back, the voice of reason. I guess he's the voice of reason. Okay, wow. That's not how I view it, but all right. We've got Jeff Cohen in the chat. We've got, let's see, Blast Radius as well. Plenty of Mets fans. I'm sure that they are going to flow in as the conversation continues. And like we said, I said a year ago today, we were on here. TilMetsDoUsPart Times Mets Weekly was here for offseason grades. And last time we were discussing a injury to a key player or a key piece to the team, and that being Frankie Montas. Well, guess what? We're going to do it again. Instead, it's going to be a position player this time, and that being Francisco Lindor. So Francisco Lindor, of course, in the first days, this team always has to give us somewhat of stress. Francisco Lindor has underwent surgery to repair a left hamate bone in his hand on Wednesday, after visiting a hand specialist. After experiencing discomfort over the last few days, it was revealed that he's been dealing with some scattered soreness in his left hand / wrist over the past few years. The Mets do expect him to be out for 6 weeks, but they are still optimistic that he will be ready for opening day. He also received a procedure on his right elbow for a minor bone spur cleanup that he had in relation to a loose bodies examination or procedure that he had back in 2023. So, I mean, it's just been one of those things where the Mets, typically you go into spring, these guys come off the plane, and it seems like they just get hurt. I don't know. But that's why I usually hold my breath in the first weeks of camp. However, Andrew, I'm going to direct this one right to you first. Last week, we were talking about the unavailableness, if that's a word, of Francisco Lindor to the WBC, and that being a lot to do with the insurance that couldn't clear him for the procedure that he had on his right elbow. Now, who knows if this is a completely related thing? However, he is going to be out for 6 weeks. We're not going to probably see him for a majority of spring training. Maybe he'll ramp up because we all know about his high pain tolerance, but maybe they were perhaps right to knock this down if there was somewhat of a concern here. And like a lot of Mets fans are saying, if this was going to happen at any point, we are just glad that it is happening now and not in September in the middle of a playoff race.
Yeah, again, I could imagine if, let's say, he was announced to play for Team Puerto Rico, and the next day it's like, oh, yeah, now he's gone. So I'd be like, okay, the WBC, whatever, it's how it is. They had about 95 guys in Puerto Rico not allowed to play in the tournament. That's the point. And what is this, like, Major League Baseball epidemic? It's like, oh, Lindor's the first guy with a hamate bone. Then it's Jackson Holliday. Then it's Corbin Carroll. It's like everybody's just getting the same injury at the same point. It's a little weird. But like you said, if he were to get hurt, it's the best time. But I also love we see the other two overall. The other two teams, being the Diamondbacks and the Orioles, already kind of like canceled out both their guys from being available for opening day. But yet the Mets are like, oh yeah, he's going to be available. Like the Diamondbacks said, Corbin's going to miss opening day, and then obviously Baltimore said Holiday, and the Mets are like, oh no, he'll be ready. It's a little weird that like the other two teams have kind of like said, oh wait, they're going to miss their opening day. It's okay, whatever, let them have it. But the Mets are like almost arrogantly saying like, hey, he's going to be ready. And like, again, we've seen Lindor with injuries before. He's got like this, Wolverine type, healing power. It's cool. And I hope that's true. But it is kind of weird that we see two other teams have that, two superstars, two other teams get that injury. And their teams are like, all right, it doesn't matter. But the Mets are so gung-ho that he's going to be ready, which is hopefully fine. But again, you don't love it. And especially with the team. And we saw, obviously, there's no reason to go like, oh, now we need to go get a shortstop. But it is kind of funny that the Mets trade, their backup prospect shortstops. And now all of a sudden Lindor's there at the first week of spring training. Isn't that the most Met thing possible? But it is maybe an opportunity for spring training for a couple guys. But again, if they expect him not to miss opening day, it's fine. It's just, for me, it's just funny that the other two teams are like, yeah, we're not going to rush it. They're not playing opening day. And then the Mets have been just, yeah, he's going to be there. Like, and the confidence is just a little weird to me. But again, what do I know? The new regime, Stearns' guys, maybe they got super doctors. So you know what? I'm going to trust them if they believe he can be ready. And then we're going to go under the assumption that he is. Then it is what it is.
No, I mean, Frank, 6 weeks from now is like March 23rd. So that's not that much time in full either healing or being out. We also know that in addition, that probably for like 2 or 3 months, there's going to be some reduced power for Francisco Lindor. And I think that that's mainly the main reason as to why there's some concern here, because we know that even though he has had slow starts in the past, this isn't going to help it if this is going to continue to be a tradition. So there's a little bit of concern for the front half of the season for Lindor. I think everything is going to be okay. However, when we start off the season, I would not be surprised if there's going to be a struggle offensively from him.
Yeah, I think overall the other thing to consider too is that if he came back around March 23rd, well, by that point, spring training is just about wrapping up and the regular season is about to begin, and you didn't play any spring training games. So, like you said, even if you come in, pitchers are fully ready. Like, they're fully warmed up, they're ready to go, and you're just starting up again, and you might be a little rusty coming back from a procedure where it prevents you from really staying in shape with swinging the bat, having your timing. Like, it's going to make it very challenging to be realistic for him to be successful when he is able to return, whenever that is. Like Andrew said, it is very weird that the other teams are saying no, but the Mets are saying yes. I think overall it has been interesting, Francisco Lindor's history with the arms. I mean, we talked about the loose bodies a couple years ago, but then even this offseason, in October, he had the right elbow debridement procedure, and then he has this hamate bone. So it's like, how does this guy have multiple arm/hand injuries in the same offseason? And we've talked about him playing through this stuff before. And even with this hamate bone, this was not like the Frankie Montas landed off the plane and injured. This is something they said has been on and off for a period of time. Like, again, I don't understand what award he's trying to win playing through all these injuries, because at the end of the day, it's like, you eventually have to pay the piper. Like, you have to have these procedures at some point. So it's like, why you keep putting it off? If you're having your elbow operated on, might as well do your hand too while you're there, while you're at the operating table, instead of waiting until, you know what, it is spring training, I'm going to miss time, and it's not going to help my team, because he's like, oh, I'm out there, I'm helping my team. But if you're super rusty and not ready to go, well, you're not helping the team. You know what I mean? So I just think, like, this whole thought process of trying to tough it out hasn't really gotten him anywhere. I mean, we talk about the foot. I mean, he had that when this year he fouled the ball off his foot. He should have missed more time. He didn't. He played through it. He was not as good. We had the whole issue with the door slamming on his hand, broke a finger. Like, he continues to play through line injuries. You don't want to call it pain tolerance, resilience, healing factor, whatever you want to call it. It's like, at some point, though, you do have to value your body and being right, because I mean, he's going to be 32 next season. Like, this stuff just becomes tougher to play through, and as time goes on, players tend to get more injury prone. So I just think it's something that is a little frustrating that we constantly see these kind of arm injuries or hand injuries with him. It seems like every year at this point. And to have multiple ones in the same offseason, it definitely is frustrating. And you know what? As far as the depth, I know someone was saying in the chat that, like, they might not put Bichette at short, but it's like, I don't see another option right now. If you have to put Bo at short for a little bit, put Beatty at third, then so be it. I mean, it's just for like hopefully a week or two, but you hope that he has played nearly 160 games year after year, that once this is done, then he should be ready to go.
Yeah. John, I'll go to you on this one. Obviously, there is I mean, listen, he's getting older. Obviously, he's not getting any younger. He's in his 30s. Again, I know that Francisco Lindor is someone who holds himself very accountable. We know that he does. And, you know, if somebody wants to disagree with that, that's whatever. I'm not even going to get into that argument with you. But if you were to talk about Francisco Lindor and his toughness or his overall pain tolerance, we've seen it a lot. We know that he went through the back injury in 2024. We know that he played through the broken toe last year in 2025. We know that he's played through bone spurs and loose bodies and things like that. The only thing that I do wonder here is there going to be either a change in approach, or is there just going to be a dip in production? Who knows? We have absolutely no idea. We can't just completely predict what the future is going to, because baseball can be unpredictable that way. But, you know, I do side with Frank a little bit, where it's like, okay, there is no rush to have you back completely. But again, it's his choice. Like, again, for me, it's always been, I don't like to hear injuries as an excuse if you choose to play through it, right? And that's always my thing. He doesn't usually complain about them as an excuse, but personally, I feel like this shouldn't be rushed if the goal is opening day when 162 games have to be played, when we know how big the wear and tear is.
Yeah, I agree with you first and foremost. I don't think you can use injuries as an excuse if you are playing through the injury, which, in fairness, Lindor hasn't really done. We find out about the injuries.
It's a responsibility thing.
Yeah.
It's just like that. Yeah.
And we tend to find out about his injuries like 6 weeks after the season's over, right? Yeah. Like that he had been playing the whole time, and maybe that's leaked by the Mets or whatever the case may be there. I do agree with Frank in the sense that sometimes you just have to be a little more cautious. Like, I find Lindor's want to and his toughness admirable. The fact that he gets paid a lot of money to go out and play shortstop for the Mets, and he takes pride in that, and he goes out and he plays shortstop for the Mets more often than not in this, you know, giving players rest days all the time era across sports. I find it admirable. But at the same time, sometimes you have to be protected from yourself. Like, I'll use a little bit of an analogy to Marcus Semien. You know, Simeon's a guy who has similarly prided himself in playing 162, 159, 162. You go back and you look at the numbers, and he's there every day. Now you look at it and you're like, okay, Marcus, look, you're 35 years old. I think that maybe if you play 145 games, maybe we can get better offense out of you. Now, I don't think that Lindor is at that point in his career, but I think there might be a point with Lindor where you say, hey, man, you can back it off a little so that we can get the best version of you for 155 games, 150 games, rather than forcing it to 159, 162, whatever it might be. The point where I disagree a little bit with Frank is that, some of this stuff, it is freakish. We're not talking about soft tissue injuries. We're talking about fouling the ball off of his foot. We're talking about the hamate bone is a stress reaction, is how they described it at first, which, is not like, oh, it's a clean break right off the bat. It's like, okay, he's feeling something. And even the way they described it was that maybe he's not going to get the surgery because maybe it's not broken enough to justify it. Now, I think with something like this, a bone that you don't need, it's probably better off to just get the surgery, get it out, and not have an issue with it down the line, especially when the recovery time is pretty standard across the board. But, I just look at this as it's an unfortunate thing timing-wise. The elbow cleanup, you're going to have that. You play a lot of baseball. You make a lot of throws. I don't know that they could have stacked this thing together and gotten both surgeries. I mean, look, if they knew about one, I'm sure they would have done them at the same time. So it's to me, it's more of an unfortunate timing thing than anything else that sort of fits into the narrative that, even Mets fans have been telling me, where it's like, oh, this is the Mets. This is what they do. They get injured. And it's like, bro, every team gets injured. I'm so tired of.
We even had it this week, this same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is not addressed to Frank or to any of you guys. This is more just to the people on Twitter. Like, dude, I'm tired of hearing about like what happened with Ray Ramirez 15 years ago and how Jeff Wilpon mishandled injuries because he wanted guys to be out there because he felt like he paid a lot of money. Like, at some point you got to move on from that level of thinking. You have to, for your own sanity, not for anything else. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what people do, but like for your own sanity, you can't worry about the ghost of Mets teams past, because this is just different, man. It's unfortunate. The timing sucks. It can happen to anybody. It sucks that it's Lindor. Like, there's a lot of things that you can hang your hat on that suck. At the same time, you could be happy that it's not worse, but I just don't want to hear the ghost from the past. That's the thing. I think all of us need to move past as Mets fans. And I know winning takes care of that, and they haven't won the World Series yet. And that's probably some of this stuff won't go away until that happens. But, for me, it's just like, I can't get hung up on something that was, one ownership ago, 5, 6, 7 front offices ago, 3 head trainers ago. I can't correlate those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's all really just about subject to change. And one thing I think that comes from Frank's point of view is he needs to see it. Like, he wants to see like that. He wants to see that progress. He doesn't want to see that completely fall off from back-to-back years. Because like we have said, not making the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, or like it always seems to be like a different story. I think that it's more of just the fact of it's been constant with a lot of these guys having these nagging injuries. And when you play 162 games, it's just going to happen. Francisco Lindor has always been an Iron Man, but like Frank, I can clue it back. Like, I understand what you're talking about as to like, it's where he's getting into his 30s. He's not getting any younger. And like at one point, he's not going to be able to get to that point where, oh, no matter what, I can play 162 games. I mean, we love him for having that drive for it. But it's like, there is a certain concern as to where it's like, okay, don't push this. Don't make this even worse. Especially when you have a team that now, in comparison to last regimes, like John was talking to, is trying to build for a future of having reliable guys, of not just, oh, a star gets injured, we're done. That's it. We're just going to fold, lay down, and die.
Yeah. I think it's more so that this is now 2 of the last 3 seasons where he had to get a procedure done on his elbow. Because I've said he had one in 2023 that he played through. Now we had this one in 2025 that he got done. And now right away it's like the hamate bone. So I hate to say those famous words, but when he was in Cleveland, he wasn't getting elbow procedures after every season. You know what I mean? So I think it's something that like you do have a little bit of concern that as you're getting older, are these arm injuries becoming a little more frequent? that is something to definitely always like keep your eye out for. And it's like if he's having a lot of arm issues, like maybe if he still wants to play a bunch of games, maybe you DH him a little more, like rest the arm.
You probably do have
try
to, yeah.
Try to get like less throws in there, or just something of that nature to where he's still out there. He can still help the team, but doesn't have to like we said, overdo it and things like that. So I think overall it's like, but like we were saying, he was maybe considering having a different kind of not having the surgery, and then we're gonna play through that, and then like the thing that kind of concerned me is that you could find. I don't want him be in a situation where
was he considering it? Maybe that may have been Mania.
No, I think it was Lindor. Did they say that like they were trying to take a second look before deciding?
I think they were. Yeah, they were
surgery?
looking. I think he was like visiting a specialist. Something happened. I don't know. It all went very quick. To be honest, we got the Joel Sherman tweet, and that was it. Like,
yeah, I just don't want to have an injury where, and not this one particularly, but like where you have an injury where you say, oh, I could play through this, but you run the risk that like if you do aggravate that particular thing, then it's like a long recovery. You know, I think it's that like kind of risk reward game is something that I don't want to find ourselves in. Luckily, like this isn't one of those situations. It's a pretty quick recovery, but overall, it's like it kind of what we say in New York: if you see something, say something. And I think in this case, if it's the off season, if you feel something, say something. If you're like, my hand is bothering me, go check that out. You know, don't wait until like you're in spring training. You're like, oh man, now I need a procedure.
I think that's more of when you witness a kidnapping on the subway, but that's a different thing.
I do think, Frank, because I would love to know a little bit more about the timeline, because they did say this is a thing that bothered him for a while. I'd like, and I said this on our show this week, I'd like to know what a while is.
Exactly.
If a while goes back to last year, then I agree with what you said before about, well, clean up the elbow, clean up the hand, like do it all, like check on all of it, right? If a while is, well, you know, these guys obviously haven't been in spring training until a couple days ago, but you know, Lindor's taking his swings in the offseason. You know, he's doing his conditioning stuff or whatever that these athletes do nowadays. And if you felt it in December, maybe you should have checked on it then. Like that's where I'm going to get down with you for sure, because I just would like to know what a while means. And again, when you're talking about a stress reaction, this could have been something that lingered. Like this could have been from June of last year. We have no idea.
Yeah.
And since I love to be a detective, I remember seeing him in the offseason with a wrap around his hands, like in public. So that's not an elbow. That's a hand. I don't know if that was hammy bone. I don't know what that was.
We've also seen from the elbow standpoint, we've also seen his throws get a little wild, like inconsistent as well too. And it's not like his throws have been
the
perfect.
strength is probably down a couple of notches over the years as far as like the velocity and what he's throwing.
It has come down, definitely. But we also have had a lot of, with the timeline, obviously. I personally think it's just a wear down thing as to where it's in his left hand. And I'm guessing like it's more of just like from gripping the bat from like in the center of his palm from the understanding that I'm getting from it. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just taking it from conclusions that I'm seeing. Is that it's the center of his palm that I guess he's like resting it on the knob of the bat. So that would more come from him being a right-handed hitter. And somebody mentioned in the chat, I forget who it was, Jay-Z, the one married to Beyonce, saying that he had a 682 OPS as a right-handed batter. I'm glad he's getting the hamate problem fixed. So maybe there was something there. We also did see the throws get a little bit more accurate after he had that elbow procedure, obviously. Maybe it's not as strong because they've cut into it. But again, we're not doctors. If you want to, if you want to be the detective, you can be the detective. But either way, we know that not having Francisco Lindor is a loss. And it's going to definitely show a big test to this lineup that we know is now deeper and doesn't just have star power and then, a combined 12 home runs throughout the entire season for the rest of the lineup. So that there is, I know, wishful thinking. That there's that there's going to be a test early for this lineup to see how good it really is, because again, we all know for the last two seasons, especially, this Mets team was going where Francisco Lindor was going. And that basically just shows. It showed a lot in 2024. It showed a lot when the Mets got off to this great start, or the Mets got off to this great start, and then he was amazing through Mother's Day, and he started off great. Then he gets hit in the toe, and then it starts to get a little bit streaky, and it was just a whole thing that collapsed after those first 2 months. We don't need to completely replay it or anything, because one of the main reasons as to that's in Baltimore, and he's waving at every breaking ball as of right now against Baltimore batting practice. Either way, I had to do it for Andrew, sorry. But again, it's one of those things that I think you have to keep your eye on it, obviously, because as he continues to get older, there's going to continue to be that concern as to if this is a nagging issue. I think that there also, it comes to a point as to, if this does become a problem, I feel like there has to be, if he is playing through it, and John kind of hinted to this, if he is playing through it, there has to be like, okay, if he is a little sore, don't push it to a fact. It's like, okay, 6 games a week, maybe he plays 4 of those 6 games. Or maybe he comes off the bench. Like, limit the ABs until he's fully healed. Because when we saw him fully healed from that toe injury that he had, he broke his toe, he was fully healed, there was a good gap of like almost a month and a half where he was not hitting well at all. He was a well below average hitter. It was in June and July where he was like a sub 80 weighted runs created plus bat. I mean, he was horrible. So it just came to a point as to where the wear down, the reps, just be cautious about it. That's it. Because I know that Francisco Lindor isn't going to just say, well, I went 0 for 4 today. It's this damn injury, man. What am I going to do? Well, you rest if it's a problem. Like, that's one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to hear it as an excuse because you chose to play through it. It's like, it's irresponsible to me, where it's like, why would you want to hurt the team if you're going to play like crap? And then you're not going to do anything about it to rest up. Like, that's that irresponsible thing. But we've never seen Francisco Lindor say, well, oh, I have this injury, man. He's taken full responsibility for his play on the field. And I know a lot of people don't like him, and I know everybody thinks that, his wife's running the team or whatever, or all the wives are running the team as of right now, which is just an insane conversation that we are having, which basically just shows us that Mets Twitter and Mets social media is just so fucking bored. But I mean, it just comes to a point like, this is a big loss, obviously, but if I had to pick when this happens, I would rather it happen the first day that pitchers and catchers report and not the day after the trade deadline, which is going to be what? August 3rd, by the way. That's a new trade deadline that we're getting. Is there anything you guys want to add before we move on?
I just want to hit on this. I don't know, and this is a fairly unscientific point that I'm making here. You alluded to the fact none of us are doctors, right? So there is some speculation in here. But one of the things that I've thought about when you guys were talking about how the Mets seem to be operating a little less conservatively about Lindor coming back versus Jackson Holliday versus Corbin Carroll, I don't know. And I know hamate bone injuries happen often in baseball, but I don't know when the last time the Arizona Diamondbacks or the Baltimore Orioles have dealt with a hamate bone injury, whereas the Mets just dealt with this with Francisco Alvarez, who was back basically 6 weeks to the day from when he suffered the injury. And I know every body is different. Every space body is different. So Francisco Alvarez is not Francisco Lindor, but I'm just wondering if they feel like they have a better idea about what this healing process is and getting guys through it to get guys back on the field sooner or as quickly as possible, having just dealt with it with Alvarez, who also was getting his hand pounded by 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, when it was happening. I know
that was even more serious because it was his catching hand.
Exactly.
I
know it's not easy to play shortstop in the major leagues, the understatement of the century, but, Lindor is not taking – 95 and 100 every single pitch off of that hand. So I don't know if that's playing a factor at all and how they think that they can maybe get him up to speed quickly enough, because I think it was like he was back in 46 days. And when Lindor had the surgery, it was like 45 days till opening day. And it just feels like, hey, maybe the Mets think they have something figured out here.
And they also had James McCann, who had the hamate bone injury with the Mets too. So you always have that.
And that's why it all fell apart, because we didn't have James McCann.
I forgot about that.
Oh my God. Anyways, we also had there was also somebody else. Didn't Pete have like a hamate bruise or something? He had like a bone bruise or something. He had something in his hand. Like he got drilled in the hand as well. And then nobody defended him because this team was so soft. But hey, whatever. Yeah. That's a different conversation, right? But either way, I mean, when it comes to Lindor, it's like it's all just really about learning the lesson. Like you mentioned Francisco Alvarez of everything. It's like, yeah, he kept getting injured. They were freak injuries, but then it always comes to a point as to where it's like, okay, when are you going to be held responsible for how this is going to being susceptible to injury? That's another thing. It's more of this, the fact it's like, okay, one thing that I can't, and I hope that a message is sent. And like we've talked about the little details that the 2025 team did not do well. The Francisco Alvarez thing, when he got hurt, the last time that he got hurt, he was sliding head first. Stop sliding head first, please. It's not a good idea. Please don't. And he hurt himself doing that.
I don't know why they even teach it anymore. I think sliding head first is such a foolish thing to do with the sliding mitts, whatever.
Well, we all know who had his ear at the plate, so maybe he was telling him to do it.
I just think it's such, like, look, there are times when you have to do it. I understand that. It's sort of akin to like a quarterback who is a runner, where you're like, listen, man, the running part of your game is a big asset. You're Josh Allen, your prime Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger, who would lower his shoulder, or even a guy who was shifty and escapable like Michael Vick, whatever. Pick your player. But you're like, in the first quarter of a game, if you can get 7 yards and get out of bounds, get 7 yards and get out. You don't need to put your head down and go for it. If you're up, 30 points, you don't need to lower your shoulder and take a hit. Get out. You can do that in games that are tight. You can do that in games that really matter at the end. And I think, like, if you're sliding head first, trying to win a playoff game, trying to get yourself into the playoffs, sliding home, trying to get around a catcher, I get it, but you should not be like diving head first into second base on regular steal attempts and regular doubles and all this stuff. And you shouldn't be doing it even if you're a speedster guy, if you're a stolen base guy and an extra base, triples and doubles guy, but especially if you're a catcher. I don't want to see catchers sliding head first. I didn't want to see Pete Alonso sliding head first. You know who doesn't slide head first ever, guys? Juan Soto. Juan Soto never slides head first because he knows what's up.
Yeah. The guy that is known for sliding head first. The guy known for sliding head first.
He won't dive in the outfield. He just won't do it.
No. He won't. Hey, but maybe he'll do it with the new position he'll play. We're going to get into that in a second.
He shouldn't.
He shouldn't. He doesn't have much.
He shouldn't. Like, honestly, we were talking about
slide.
This. Like, we were talking about this.
Ohtani doesn't either, and he's a 50-50 guy, man.
You just have to know how.
Don't slide head first.
This conversation.
Jeff used to do that too. Jeff McNeil used to do that. It'd drive me
he
fucking
slid head
nuts.
first into first base.
Yeah. But I don't know if you guys remember this. There was a conversation. I think it was Keith who used to point this out on the broadcast all the time. He would say it about Reyes, where he was like, as a middle infielder, especially, your hands are so valuable. If you're an outfielder, maybe you can get away, like Ricky Henderson.
That attention to detail. It's that attention to detail. I'm telling you. They didn't have it. They don't like, and the whole organization also, like when it talked about like drafting players and development, I talk about it all the time, but it's like they didn't have that attention to detail, and that's one of the main reasons as to why they made the changes they did this offseason, which we'll get into. It's like, it's one of those things where you can go on and on with this, of, the sliding head first, or it's just not smart to do. I mean, Andrew is, I don't know if he's here. He's maybe away from his camera. Andrew, yeah. I mean, before we move on, do you want to speak on behalf of Jackson Dart, since we brought up football? But because that's a guy who puts himself in danger. It's like, yeah, so we love that you want to, what? What'd you say? What'd you say?
So did Daniel Jones. He also loved to not slide and just get concussed.
So. Yeah, exactly. It's again, we love that you want to fight for that, but you also have to be smart about it. Like, there's got to be a balance. There's got to be decision making. You got to be smart somewhat, right? And when we talked about the decision making last year and the attention to little things, and that Mets team did not have it whatsoever. And everyone's like, oh, well, bring this piece back, bring this piece back. No, you got to get everything out of here. Like that's it. You got to move on. That's it. I mean, there has to be a good mix to what, and there has to be a limit to what deficiencies you're willing to work with. And if Francisco Alvarez has another hand injury that is not catching related, then we're going to have another discussion. It comes to a point. It's like, you got to be smart about this. You really do have to be smart about it. And, you don't want to injure yourself in a 162 game season, because you could be Francisco Lindor or be Francisco Alvarez, and the team's going to need you. You just never know. Either way, there are some other stories that we did get from Port St. Lucie that I do want to get into. And then we also had a signing to get into too. So obviously we have some of the notes that we have gotten from Carlos Mendoza, Mets manager, and Mets president of baseball operations, David Stearns. As for all of these notes that we got down, the one highlighted right here, that the top three in the Mets lineup likely be, and he's already said this publicly, this was from Carlos Mendoza, saying that Lindor, Soto, and Bichette would be the top three in that order. So he is putting Lindor in that conversation. However, he is not putting Bo Bichette in the shortstop conversation in the event of Lindor's absence, if he's not ready for opening day. We also got some stuff about AJ Minter, that beginning to mid-May, who is obviously coming back from a torn lat surgery. So obviously his recovery is a little bit slower in comparison to some of the other pitchers as well, ramping up. Ryan Clifford will begin 2026 in AAA, which I think we all expected. David Stearns said that the six-man rotation usage will depend on the condition of the pitchers by opening day. So we'll see what the deal is with Clay Holmes, obviously, with him going to the WBC and being ahead of everybody. So we'll see. Carson Benj is seen as an option in right field, as David Stearns has been vocal about that. Brett Beatty is seen as an option because we love gimmicks. And of course, Juan Soto will move to left field full-time in 2026, which basically opens the right field conversation. And we all know that Juan Soto is not the best defender. We can all agree. He's not. And the least amount of range in the outfield goes to Juan Soto. Now, John, I'll flip this right back to you. I think we can just get into the Juan Soto discussion, because obviously there'll be plenty of stuff that we'll get into throughout all of spring training, and what we like and what combinations we like. It goes on and off. That's how we are. However, the thought of Juan Soto playing left field, I think that this is the best version of the Mets outfield. If you put Juan Soto in left field, you have Luis Robert, who can play incredible defense in center field. And then in right field, you go by the arm, because that's usually what you usually go through. But if I were to pick a position that Juan Soto should play, it would be left field. Least amount of range, still have a sturdy enough arm as to where it can hit the cutoff man. And, again, that's the skill set that I feel like he's the most comfortable with, and what the Mets are comfortable with when they've been preaching things like run prevention all off season.
Yeah, look, first of all, I never mind deferring to a star player, even if it's slightly to the detriment of the team, right? Like, there's a point of no return there where you're like, bro, what are we doing? But Juan Soto at 26, 27, if he was adamant about staying in right field, I would not be losing sleep over it, despite the defensive deficiencies that you've alluded to. I do agree with you, though, that he's basically tailor-made to play left field for this team, and I'm happy that he has put the team first rather than saying, I like being a right fielder. You signed me to be a right fielder, so that's where I'm going to stay. This wasn't really an option last year because Brandon Nimmo was in left field and he was, 32 going on 87. So his body was breaking down. His defensive ability was breaking down. He looked like a shell of his former self physically in the ground he could cover. He's never had a plus arm. So you kind of had no choice but to keep Brandon Nimmo in left field. Obviously, you trade him. That kind of opens things up a bit. You can start to get creative. I think Juan Soto's asset, his best asset defensively, is his arm. It's not crazy good, but it's above average. And guess what? That's still going to play up in left field the way it did in right field. If anything, it'll play better in that position. You also have to remember he played a lot of left field with the Nationals. The biggest part of the reason why he played right field with the Yankees is because it's the opposite at Yankee Stadium.
You said this on your show the other day.
Yankee Stadium, the right field is easier to play. It's short porch. It's not tricky, whatever. In Citi Field, it's the exact opposite. There's those weird angles. It's deeper, like you said. There's more ground to cover. So putting him in left field makes a ton of sense. And then you open up right field for probably, look, it's not a foregone conclusion here, but I think we all know it's barring something insane, it's going to be Carson Bench. And when you look at Carson Bench going back to college, he was a two-way player. He pitched and played right field. He's got a cannon for an arm, better than Soto's, probably better than Roberts, who's his plus, but it's not like insanely off the charts. So now you're starting to line yourself up in a way that really, really makes sense. So to me, the best version of the Mets outfield, to your point, is Soto in left, Robert in center, and Bench in right. Because look, Robert is an elite defensive center fielder. I think Carson Bench can be, maybe not right off the bat, but I think he's trending to an above average at the major league level to plus right fielder. Yeah. And then if you put Soto in the easier spot, I don't think he's going to win a Gold Glove, guys, but you probably get a better defensive version of Juan Soto in the easier spot. So, you talk run prevention, you talk about, how can this team be better defensively as a collective? This is how.
Yeah. It's all really just about meshing together the skills and not just like overall looking at the numbers as to what is going to be, this is great. I saw him make a catch here. He's fine. It's more of just what skill fits that. And if you don't have great range, which Juan Soto does not have great range, he has a strong arm. He should be in the outfield. Doesn't have range. He should go to left field. So it's all basically about piecing together what traits are the best. And that's one thing that has been really emphasized in this offseason, I think, by David Stearns, as the traits of putting together a complete player, either defensively and also in the lineup as well, as we see 4 shortstops in our starting infield as of right now. 2 of them are out of position, but also it's looking at it as the adjustments as to what they can do, whether they have hands or they have this athleticism. Like, there's different skills that each position needs to possess, and some translate to others. Like we just said, Carson Bench was a pitcher. He can be an outfielder, a corner outfielder, as to where the right fielder's usually the strongest arm. Not to mention with Carson Bench, and if you're putting him into that conversation, because that was also mentioned as well, and they are very high on him, I don't see him as a center fielder. I don't see him as like this, 80 grade speed that can basically go and get it no matter what. I think he has the potential to be elite in the corner. He has the potential to be well above average in the corner because of how good of an athlete, the great speed that he possesses, the strong arm that he has. I just don't think that he is that high profile run preventer that you need to have in center field. A guy like Robert, completely different of a story, and who knows if he hits, what is the future? We have we've talked about it on the show before, AJ Ewing, center field. Like, is probably more adapt to be in center field because he's a lot faster and a lot quicker. So there's these certain traits that as to why these guys fit in these certain positions, or why, Stearns thinks they could. John's partner Ibby in the chat saying, Nimmo chasing a ball in the corner was like watching someone pull up with a hammy. Like, that was how slow he was. And again, there were those lower body injuries that Nimmo has dealt with in the past. He's obviously aging. It was noticeable. And to be honest, the Mets basically, threw that bomb away before it went off, in my opinion. Because, I didn't know if they were going to be able to move that contract, but they were able to do it. Either way, when it comes to Juan Soto in left field, yes, we know he's not the biggest fleet of foot. But we do know that his overall athleticism or overall athletic ability, he was able to manipulate that into 38 stolen bases last year. Not to mention, he's 27 years old. He's not 33 like Brandon Nimmo. Matt in the chat saying that Brandon Nimmo is going to be in right field. Not sure why, but sure. And that Rangers Park that they have, Globe Life Park, that is a big right field that they have, a big outfield in general. But I'll say this for John, as usual, people from the South, just let them learn. Let them learn themselves. Let them learn themselves, all right? And that's the only message we are going to put on that. We're not going to do anything else. But either way, Frank, I'll go to you on this. The Bo Bichette of him not being in the formula, of him not being in the shortstop formula, which I get because he's so awful at it. But again, there's also some questions about him at third base it's like, okay, is his arm strong enough for this? Like, that's a question. And I don't know if we got your take on that, because I don't know if you were here for the Bo Bichette
I was
news.
not here for Boba Fett, no.
So, I mean, if you want to give your take on that of the positional versatility here, it's like, that's my only question. I do think that he'll be able to get to the ball at third base better than he was at shortstop, but I do think that the arm is going to be something that we're going to have to wait and see. That's a question mark there. Definitely a question mark.
Yeah, as far as Soto, him moving from right field to left field in year one, it's good. I mean, better than do it 14 years later at the end of his contract. After he's done left field, he'll probably be moving to first base, and then once he's done with that, he's probably moving to DH. He's just not great, no matter where you put him. It's you could only.
He also throws left-handed, so there's only so many places that
exactly.
you can put him.
You can. It's you're trying to hide him the best you could, so to speak, moving him to left field. So that'll be nice. But I think in general, we talked about this from the beginning when I was here. We traded Nimmo for Marcus Semien. We said run prevention, right? And we said, okay, we have Lindor and Semien up the middle. We're looking really good. But then you signed Jorge Polanco to play first, and you're kind of goes away from run prevention. But then you got Luis Robert in center field. Okay, run prevention again. Our defense is solid bill. But then you signed Bo Bichette to play third base. And it's wait a minute, that's not run prevention. So I think overall, it's just been kind of confusing as far as what is the exact vision. Is it run prevention? Is it not run prevention? Is it just get the best 9 players you can and call it a baseball team? I mean, that could be it too.
You never know. I mean, again, I talked about this before of something that he actually did in Milwaukee, even though he has more flexibility to actually get the higher level players in comparison to what they had. There's been executives that have talked about Stearns with money is a scary dude. It's one of those things as to where you have defense sure-handed up the middle, obviously, which is the most important, of course, which requires the most range. Yeah. And then you have athletes in the less taxing range positions. We've talked about this on the show already. He did that a lot in Milwaukee, but he's able to do it a little bit more on that higher level. However, there still is a question I feel like we're missing here, because, again, with third base, you need quick hands, you need a strong arm, which I think Bo Bichette does have quick hands. I don't know, is there something else that we don't know about that? I have no clue. However, but I also think you have a more optimal team where if it does not work out, let's say, if it doesn't work out, you have Brett Beatty for third base. Sorry, somebody took over my mic for just a split second. you have Brett Beatty for third base, obviously. Do you put Ronnie Mauricio in that conversation? I don't know. We'll see how healthy he is. But it's more
all
of just
about
like
the bat. And I've said that too. Is that like a lot of times, and Vientos did this 2 years ago, but like a bat can play you into a position. So like if you're hitting well, it's like you kind of got to work with the trade-offs. It's like if they're playing great at third or they're playing great at first with like a great bat, then that's where they're going to be. So I mean that can happen from time to time. But as far as like Ronnie,
this would be the comparison to what they're doing with Polanco, but Keston Hiura is actually like, not as good of a hitter as Jorge Polanco could be. But yeah.
Well,
anyways,
I don't know if you guys saw this. I think it was from yesterday. Mets Metrics put out something on Twitter for, Bo Bichette's arm strength compared to some of the other third basemen, notable third basemen. And, he's kind of middle of the pack. 82.3 miles per hour is his average arm strength from Baseball Savant. And, that puts him right in line with Alex Bregman, right under Austin Riley, just under Nolan Arenado and Jose Ramirez, and, better than Brett Beatty, better than Ke'Bryan Hayes. And, the average.
Now compare Brett Beatty's arm strength to right fielders typically.
Right. That I'd have to look at. I don't have those.
Which doesn't make any sense. But you know what?
Yeah.
Who cares? Carson's just a hater. Who knows? Game for War saying, I want to know if Bo Bichette has a strong throwing arm.
It's not strong.
That's what I mean. I don't know. I don't know. I have no clue.
I think it's going to be strong enough. That's my thing. I think Bo Bichette's biggest deficiency at shortstop was his lateral range. And you mitigate that by playing a guy at third base. You just do. Now, I'm not saying it's easy.
With Lindor next to him on that side of the field who has a ton of range.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, look, he has things to learn, right? He's got to learn when to come in, when to back off. Those are probably the biggest things. And the throwing angles are different. So all of that stuff is something you cannot learn overnight. I'm sure there'll be some growing pains. Again, I don't think he's going to win a Gold Glove. But I think if you look at his skill set and what he does well versus what he does poorly at shortstop, I think it translates to a guy who can at least be average at third base. And the way he hits, he can be average at third base because he's going to put up offensive numbers. So I do think that he will
That's my only question with
just fine
That's it.
At third base.
That's my only question is the arm at third base. That's literally it. That's all I have with Bo Bichette. Either way, I think that he slides into the lineup fairly well. Situational hitting. He can pop you 20 home runs, balance out the lineup like we've said. I've already talked about it throughout the entire lineup. We've said it. You get 30 from Lindor, which we'll see with the injury, how that affects that. 30 from Lindor, 40 from Soto. You get, You can get 20 from Bichette, then you get 20 from the next guy, 20 from the next guy. That's better than Alvarez. Can't hit pop 20 for you?
Maybe
that's better than 30, 40, 40, 5, 5, 5, 2, 3. Like that's better than that where you have a deeper lineup as to, that there's a little bit more consistency as well. And there's also a little bit more contact as to where, we'll swing at pitches inside the strike zone, like that would be cool, but we're getting completely off the topic. That'd be cool. Wouldn't it be cool, Frank? Awesome.
If you look at Soto's probably going to hit 40, right? In that ballpark. There's no question that Bichette and Polanco can hit 20 each. Then you start to get, I was going to write down Lindor for 30, but now with the hamate injury, we don't know. Maybe it's slightly less, whatever. But there is a world where Luis Robert and Francisco Alvarez specifically hit you 25 apiece. I don't think that's insane. I don't think it's insane for one of those two guys to get you 30. I think it's possible. Do I think it's likely? No, but I do think it's possible. And now all of a sudden you start to see what you're laying out here, Carson. Like there's a situation where Marcus Semien is probably going to pop you 15, even as a diminished player. When you look at some of the things he did offensively in a place that's very difficult for right-handed pull fly ball hitters in Globe Life Park to a place that is a little bit more conducive to his type of swing, I think without changing anything and just being healthy, he'll hit 15. So now you start to see where this all comes together. And look, I that's where I think it is a little overrated to say, where do you replace Pete's 40 home runs? throughout the lineup,
Do
with
it.
everyone.
Yeah. If you actually compare the 20, I actually have a spreadsheet of this. I don't know where the hell it is. It's probably on my spreadsheet app. That's great. But I do have one. It's if you were to compare like the 2025 production and plug that in to 2026 in comparison to what they lost and what they gained, the difference between that total home run total, I'd say, is like 8. Like they have 8 less, and that's not including a healthy Alvarez. Maybe you get more from somebody like Robert. Again, it's one of those things. Maybe you get a little bit more power. You get something in the middle from Mark Vientos instead of what you got last year. Maybe something in the middle between 2024 and 2025. Like that's how I see it's like either you're regressing to the means or there's some upside as to where their flaws can be protected. I don't know how it will be, but how I look at it is you have a new philosophy here. You have a new voice in there who's not Eric Chavez, which is great. Even though you're going to start off the season with Francisco Lindor possibly being a contact hitter.
Well,
so
you know what's crazy to me?
Eric Chavez is going to be dancing. So.
You know what's crazy to me for a second? Last year, you get these people, and this is when you have to deal with folks who like truly don't know what they're looking at. They'll say things like, Jeff McNeil's just trying to hit home runs. And you're like, it's not what's happening.
There's a weird way of showing it if he is.
You get these people, though, who want to tell you right away, oh, well, what happened to batting average? That's the Mets' problem. They're swinging for the fences. So the Mets get rid of a guy whose best outcome is hitting a home run, and they replace him with 3 players who hit for a higher batting average. And now those
because it's a position-to-position thing, the fantasy
runs?
Baseball thing. Like that's the thing, the fantasy baseball mindset where it just doesn't make it doesn't make any sense. It's like you got to look at it from a team perspective and not the individual player. It's like, 100%. What is he providing for the? Yeah,
but I don't even think people are doing that. Like they're just like when they.
It's like compare Polanco's stats to here's a stat head. We all see this on Twitter. The stat head comparison of Polanco to Alonso. Of course, Alonso's going to beat him out, but it's like let's make a deeper team then. Like we've talked about it even before when all these guys left. Let's make a deeper team then. Let's get a team. A team that can win.
I think it's even one step worse than that is my point. Like, because I think philosophically, how many times you see people, I wish the Mets would play more small ball. I wish the Mets would hit for a higher average. That's all I saw on Twitter for 5 years. And now they go out and they get guys who are going to hit for higher averages. And they're like, what happened to all the home runs? Polar bear.
Known 180 hitter, Bo Bichette, Can't believe it.
It's insane to me. It's the moving of the goalposts is just
it's the constant moving of the goalposts, and then it's like you don't even know what you want. It's like, oh, I want this change, not that change. It's like how many? There's no pleasing. There is no pleasing of how you can look at it. It's all I want results. I want wins. I want to be high in the standings. I wanted to win a division, which we all want, but we weren't winning with that group, so they had to move on. That's it. That's all it is. Either way, adding to the position player group, all of this stuff and all of these details. I do want to talk a little bit about MJ Melendez for a second before we get into these grays, which, again, we're definitely overlapping the 2-hour mark, but hey, we're chilling, I guess, at this current moment. Into MJ Melendez, who the Mets have signed for a $1.5 million split contract, so it's not fully guaranteed, so he's not guaranteed to be on the roster. And as you can see on the graphic here, it's a cash and stash option, which, he can be optioned to the minor leagues because he does have a minor league option left. He's 27 years old, and it has been pretty rough for him. Let's just say that. The last year was the worst season of his career. He was optioned down to AAA. He played 107 games in AAA Omaha. He was not hurt. He just was optioned down to AAA. However, we do know that he was a former top prospect at one point. Still does hit the ball hard, decent profile. Most of these percentiles are from 2024 because he barely played in 2025, and I couldn't even get heads or tails on what percentile he was in because they were so skewered. It was a bad year for him. However, Not the best defender, which is one of the main reasons as to why he plays the corner, not center field. He's a former catcher. Played left field, could play right field because of that insane arm that he has, a 91.5 mile per hour arm strength, which is in the 93rd percentile. He can also bust down the line as well. He's got 2 years of control left. Who knows what the future is? Obviously, like we said, former second-round pick by the Royals back in 2016. He is a career 88 weighted runs created plus hitter. He's popped 15 to 20 home runs before throughout his career. Again, $1.5 million prorated, and you can just stash him in AAA. It's whatever. It doesn't count against the luxury tax if he is in AAA, and if he's up here, he is. I think it's more of just the asset of, like we said, of traits with a player. He can give you a really strong arm in right field. And like we said, more of insurance as to maybe from Carson Benj perspective, who did not hit a lot in AAA, and maybe they decide to have him start the season in AAA. Andrew, I'll go to you on this one because I know that you're very familiar with the Royal side of MJ Melendez as well. It's been rough for him, obviously, throughout his career so far. Still young, obviously, but it more so just shows you, well, Soto goes to left field, Robert center field, and then that makes it Taylor would be the right-handed right fielder, and then the left-handed right fielder, you're looking at MJ Melendez if you want to keep the seat warm for Carson Benj for June. All right. And I know, Frank, you're making faces, but Tyrone Taylor's got the arm to play right field. So definitely does.
Does he have the bat to play right field?
I mean, again, if they want to keep if that is their mindset to keep the seat warm for Benj, that's probably what they'll go with. But again,
at that rate, you're better off Carson.
Would you want to put Beatty in right field?
It's going to be Benj.
Rather that than
it's going to be Benj.
It likely will be Benj.
It's going to be Benj.
It could be. Yeah, unless they sign Nick Castellanos.
No,
Andrew, I'll go to you.
That than
MJ Melendez.
I would rather, Frank, I'm with you. I said something and people, again, misinterpret it despite the fact that I was very clear. I was like, I don't want Nick Castellanos. I don't think they should sign Nick Castellanos, and I don't think they will sign Nick Castellanos.
I don't want him on a train, on a plane with eggs and ham.
From a team building perspective of what the team needs, I would rather them sign Castellanos than sign Jose Iglesias, like to get a guy that could play shortstop. Because they're not going to need the guy to play shortstop. They're not going to need that player who's not good to play shortstop beyond a couple days past opening day, where you could say, hey, you know what? A guy who hits right-handed, who can play the outfield or at least stand out there, might be the thing that you need, because Tyrone Taylor can't hit. Brett Beatty's not an outfielder, and we don't know what MJ Melendez is. So if Carson Benj isn't ready, that one makes sense. But I don't want it. I'm not advocating for it. But it does make more sense than trying to get a shortstop who can't hit either.
I mean, Melendez does look good in a Mets hat. I mean, I'm looking at his Savant as of right now. He does look good, so maybe that'll work. Maybe it will work. Andrew, I'll go to you initially.
It's not a bad nothing signing.
Yeah, it's not. Again, it's a cash and stash. Like, again, it's not something that he's not guaranteed to be on the roster, obviously. But Andrew, I will leave you with this. Remember, Kyle Schwarber was cast aside once. So that means any corner outfielder that bats left-handed could be the next gen.
Yeah. Who came up as a
catcher.
It's not intended.
See how we're flowing narratives here?
Yeah, again, this is just pushing Jarrett Young down the timeline. Like, he's a DH that can hit. The Royals sent him down. They brought Cags up because they needed to clear the spot for Cags. Okay, they sent MJ down, and he goes down to Omaha, and he matches it. What he is, he's a 4A player. It's more depth. Like, again, it's $1 million. He can hit. He pulls fly balls, and weirdly, when the year of the Royals in 2024, when they made the playoffs, obviously they get bounced in the wild card to the Yankees. He was one of the clutchest hitters in the lineup. It was like you'd rather face Bobby Witt Jr. at times than MJ Melendez in high leverage situations in 2024. It made no damn sense that it was every big hit MJ would get. You'd be like, you would walk Vinny and Jr. just to get to him. You'd be like, oh, I'd rather face those guys because there was so many big hits that MJ got. and then just, of course, falls off the next year. Again, it's $1.5 million. It's another Jared Young type guy that he's going to get a couple ABs. He'll hit a few bombs in CBP and pull fly balls. And again, if Benj isn't ready, he can play Major League Baseball for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is, to get Benj up here.
What
let him
Ricardo's saying in the chat here that Melendez does have serious power. It's only a matter of time of he needs to make connection with the baseball. And that's the thing. Like that's the whole thing. Again, Tyrone Taylor, MJ Melendez, those are the types of veterans that you bring in to push a young guy in spring training like Carson Benj, who, again, we talked about this before. Andrew, I think this was last episode that we did. Last episode, 2 episodes ago, we were talking about Ty France, the possibility of Ty France coming in here. They had Polanco, what was the uncertainty with Mark Vientos? Were they going to have him on the bench? Were they going to have him DH? If they were to do that, that makes us feel like, okay, they believe in Ryan Clifford as the first baseman of the future, but you have many different options as to where, there's flexibility there to push the prospect. That's what I love to see organizations do. I don't want them to go, hey, here's the keys, kid. Go ahead. I want them to have, an incentive to try and win the job, which, again, there is incentive here, and I'm not saying that Melendez and Tyrone Taylor are massive competition. You also have apparently Beatty into this mix, which, again, Beatty in right field I don't get at all. But, if you guys want to add anything on Melendez here, because, again, it adds into the corner outfield depth, which the Mets obviously do not have. But also it opens up the window as to, okay, let's say Benj, they want to go with Benj, or, they want to go with something else. I do think that they're going to sign another outfielder, somewhat to a minor league deal that they expect, their market just completely tanked. Maybe somebody that they expect to maybe fall into their lap. I don't know. But again, Frank, I'll go to you on this one. It's not one of those guaranteed. It's got upside. I'm not going to say it doesn't. He's still young, but I'm not hanging my hat on it, obviously. But I guess we'll just have to see where this goes, and we hope that maybe Carson Benj takes this as an incentive to make the team. And if not, maybe you have a 9-hole that's going to be a hole in right field.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm looking at is that, when you get to spring training's about to begin at pitcher catch report and you say, all right, well, what's the opening day lineup? And you say your starting right field for New York Mets is your starting
Tyrone
DH
Taylor probably at this moment.
If it's Tyrone Taylor, yikes. Because then to me, in my opinion, what was the point of the Robert trade? Really, because for me, when I'm trading for Robert, I'm doing it to get Tyrone Taylor not starting anymore. So it's like, if I'm just moving him to right field, I feel like it just kind of defeats the purpose. To me, you could, if you want to,
it comes to show you their belief in Benj, which kind of is scary because it's it's hard to rely on a prospect, but
exactly, which is a whole other thing because it's like, if you want to say Tyrone Taylor is a center fielder, don't expect a lot of offense, but you get the defense. With center field, I could understand it because a lot of teams do that. But when you say for right field, I can't get with that because many teams have really good hitting corner outfielders. So I can't do that. But like you said, there is risk involved just banking on a rookie to be the guy to start opening day with you if he's not this generational prospect who was a Juan Soto type prospect, for example, who you knew is going to hit no matter what. With Benj, he's been playing really good in the minors, but we'll see if he is that guy. He's still young. He hasn't gotten that much AAA reps yet for this to be, oh my gosh, opening day, he's going to start. But I think with MJ Melendez, he's still not the guy where I'm like, oh, well, Benj has competition now. It's like, oh, well, we got Melendez to start right field. It's like, I don't feel good about that.
Again, I don't think it's competition to me because, again, it's more flexible because, Melendez can be in the majors or in the minors, because like it's flexible no matter what. He's probably going to start in AAA or he's going to start in the majors. Like they're again, it's split. It's a split deal, obviously, which is one of those things. Tyrone Taylor's going to be on the opening day roster. We don't know if he's going to be starting or going to be the fourth outfielder or not. We don't know if they add some utility guy that's out there that we don't even know.
To me, I like Beatty in the utility role instead of starting him in the outfield or at DH. I've seen people say,
so you like
start
gimmicks?
Beatty at DH.
Is that what you like? You like gimmicks?
No,
that's what
I
you
don't
like.
I don't gimmicks, but I mean, listen, the guy, he's played second base, he's played third base. He might have to play shortstop if Bichette's not going to play short. He could play left field. I mean, I think you get rid of McNeil. Who else is a guy that's going to play a lot of positions for you? I think Brett Beatty is the next man up. That's going to play a lot of different spots. So I like him in that kind of role, especially if you have injuries and things like that. So I wanted more.
And I'm going to fart glitter, but I guess we can all make things up.
I will say this, Carson. I don't like Beatty either, but I'd rather have Brett Beatty in this role than 33-year-old Jeff McNeil making $15.7 million.
Sure.
Like if I had to pick a player to be in the role that they're likely to be in, but I don't want Jeff McNeil starting. I didn't want Beatty starting. So I'm with you there, but I'm with you, Frank, where it's like, look, Beatty has shown, surprisingly, because I didn't think he could do it, but he played second base well. He plays third base very well, above average. I think he could play left field. I think he could get by. I mean, I'm not talking like playing right field often. Probably stick him out there a couple times a year, and I don't think it would be a problem. I think he would pick up first base better than he would pick up outfield, because I just think it's being on the dirt. I think it's more akin to his skill set. So if you're looking for a guy to do that, to me, I'd rather have it be Beatty than McNeil. But I think they're just clearing, right or wrong, they're clearing this runway for it to be Carson Bench. David Stearns even said, don't look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Like me and Ibby talked about it. I think it's going to be like.
And listen, we talked about his hitting profile in AAA, which has been very impressive without even those results. And we've talked about that before. And when Ricardo says in the chat, do you think that Stearns will pull the service time crap with Benj? I don't think he will, because this is his draft pick. This is his guy. It's not like, he'll do it with Mauricio. He wants to to get that option and, sacrifice some of the playing time here. This is his guy. And we all know that when it comes to president of baseball operations or president of football operations they want their guys in there. This is his first ever draft pick. This is his guy right here. He loves Carson Bench. I don't think anybody realized how much he likes
Jet
him.
Williams, who wasn't his guy. So
yes,
I mean, he's really high on
Jet Williams was not his guy either.
The other thing, too, that you look at with the roster manipulation with Mauricio, I think that was also a bit of a credit to Mauricio, just in the sense that I think the front office thinks Mauricio has upside, and they had a choice, Acuna or Mauricio. And I think they were like, this is what Acuna is. Now, they might be wrong. Maybe he's got a little bit of room to grow into something else. But they're both switch hitters, if
you ask the White Sox.
Yeah, exactly. I think the White Sox thought they got Mauricio.
Stearns fleeced him. He's like, listen, I can give you this switch hitter.
And y'all still don't like this man? He literally convinced a man on the phone that a player was a switch hitter, and y'all still give him shit.
But
crazy.
He was like, he's trying something new this year. I've seen it. He's been trying some left-handed stuff. He's going to be a switch hitter next year. And then the White Sox, okay, sounds great.
But White Sox try not to hire a clown challenge. Unbelievable.
I think when you line up all these guys, the old guard of these prospects with Acuna, Vientos, Beatty, and Mauricio, if you had to pick them out of a lineup as to who has the tools to be the best all-around player, it's Mauricio. It's still Mauricio. I don't know if he will be, but he has the best.
He's lost a lot of time, which is unfortunate. But
profile. He does, like the combination of the two. He has the best. He is the most athletic, best defensive, best offensive profile of all the guys. So I think the Mets were like, listen, if we can preserve an option, whether that option comes in handy for us or for a trade chip for Mauricio, we'd rather do that, because I think they had the feeling like, we're going to have to offload Acuna, or Acuna is going to be the 26th man on our bench, which is not sexy.
Yeah. No. And again, it's like with the young players, they need to play every day, and they're not going to develop. They're not going to be good in part-time roles. That's the same argument I made even for Beatty, who I'm not even that fond of. It's like, well, if he's going to be a part-time player, what the hell are you going to be doing with him? But I digress. The TikTok edits will reign supreme. on that.
Well,
I don't know what to tell you.
Some people have Beatty penciled in as DH, so I mean he'd be playing every day if that were the case.
Did you see that bat?
Makes no sense.
You know, the one that pounds the ball into the ground 60% of the time. Have you seen that?
If you're going to plug a player into
so,
DH, it's got to be Vientos. I don't know how it's not Vientos.
I do agree with that.
I think Vientos can, if Vientos got 500 at bats, I think he would hit 25 home runs near automatic, even with a bad approach, because that's how hard he hits the ball, and he pulls the ball, and he's not relying on pull power purely. To me, putting Beatty at DH is wasting both Beatty's upside, which is his defense, and Vientos' upside, which is his power.
And who knows? Maybe there's an injury next week, and we're talking completely different about what's in the fold right now.
Yeah,
but
you're also much better with Beatty as the guy who could come in during the game to do different things. Vientos on the bench has no use. He can't come in to run. He can't come in to play defense. Like
100%.
He just serves much better as your DH for now. Which again, based off how he played last year, it wasn't a great year for him. He was below league average. So you would then be going into the season in opening day saying your DH, if it's Vientos, below league average, and then in right field, who was it, Tyrone Taylor?
Which again, they have other options for DH.
In two different positions.
It's more of the fact of they can make, like, if something's not doing well, like if they're not they have other options for it. Like if Tyrone Taylor's not hitting well in right field, or he's not playing a good right field, you know, maybe they're looking to call up Benj. Maybe they move Robert to right field. Like they have a optimal Ryan Clifford. Yeah, exactly.
They've been talking. They've
been talking about his outfield.
They've been talking about how good he is in the outfield. And I think Ryan Clifford is a first base DH. But I think they're talking it up,
which is another position that is up in arms as of right now.
But I think he's starting in AAA
because they let the polar bear walk, right, Andrew?
I think there's a chance if you're not getting offense, he's going to be from right field. Possible. Ryan Clifford will be the next guy up. I think that's.
And there also is one detail that I think a lot of people are missing about Ryan Clifford. We'll see what happens because I think he's going to get more AAA at bats. Obviously, he is Rule 5 eligible in December, so maybe they. Who knows?
You definitely could see him at some point. I mean, for sure.
You could.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be early. I'm saying if you get to like June and your right field is abysmal and he is tearing the cover off the ball in AAA.
And it's a good problem to have if you have young players like this who are so advanced at that average age in AAA, like in comparison to Benj, like he is younger than the typical AAAer. Same thing goes with Clifford. And then there's that guy who they traded away to the Giants, who everyone thought was the next superstar, the next Lenny Dykstra. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that name. But like there's Drew Gilbert, who was like 26 in AAA. It was like, okay, yeah, we're running out of time here, people. So again, there's no rush for a guy like Benj. If you're going to keep the seat warm, I can deal with Tyrone Taylor batting ninth, or, if that is MJ Melendez, which again, he's going to have to perform well in spring.
I mean, like 24 games in AAA batting 178 and you're like, oh, he's ready. Like I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? Like he needs to get some more AAA.
And I am not going into this spring saying he is the right fielder.
Training, like maybe,
he's got to have a Pete Alonso spring.
Yeah, I can't say
a Pete Alonso rookie spring. Yeah,
but that production is good enough. Yeah. At that age too. Like,
and I understand why they still see him as that, because again, like I said, the underlying numbers, amazing. I mean, this guy, even though he wasn't getting that many of the results, a sub 10% whiff rate against fastballs in AAA as this young of this kid, like that's how good he looked in overall profile. He just wasn't getting those results. And that's the adjustment period to AAA. And hopefully, as of right now, I am plugging him into AAA. I don't plug in prospects. That's my rule. I plug in veterans to push them, flexible veterans to push them, and then we figure it out. That's basically it. But we all know that Carson Benj, they're very high on the kid. And there's a main reason as to why. He had a phenomenal year across multiple levels in the minor leagues. So it definitely was impressive. We'll see. We will see. And also, Tyrone Taylor slander is not, it's not appreciated, in my opinion.
Not right field. You want him to play
Not
center
right
field? You
field?
want him to be off the bench? Fine. Right field, no.
Why not? He's
No
got the
bat?
arm for it. He's got the range for it.
Those got the bat.
Yeah. And
You need to hit, Carson.
I'm
You got
aware that you
four
have to.
more
I
guys
don't
on the
even.
other
You could also.
team.
I said this on somebody's Twitter post today. I was like, "Oh, he's an amazing fourth outfielder." I'm like, "He's a fifth outfielder. Your fourth outfielder has to hit." That's my
Yeah,
school of
I
thought.
go with the bench of like the second in command. I go with utility fourth outfielder, and then you have the two other positions or whatever. You have the backup catcher, and then whatever the bat
Yeah.
is, pinch hitter. So it's like I see it as like the fourth outfielder in tradition typically is like the second guy that comes off the bench initially. To me, at least. The ninth inning defense, something like that. It's just, Tyrone Taylor's a part-time player.
He's
That's
a
what he
part-time
is.
player, but fourth outfielders play a lot. He needs to hit more than he's shown to be. So
Sure.
like, that's why I'm with Frank. Like he can't
And
start
maybe-
in right field. It's
And
gonna
that's
be
the
bench.
thing. And that's the thing. Who knows what it could be bench. Who knows? And I think they want it to be bench. They desperately want it to be bench. They like him a lot. And again, there were years where Tyrone Taylor was giving you 15 home run power in Milwaukee. Who knows? And he actually is the best line drive hitter on this team. So that could be maximized in a way that maybe you don't know, and maybe he gives you some really good fourth outfielder production. You never know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not counting on it.
Milwaukee, he would, but we've yet to see that with him.
We haven't
he's
seen it.
never
If
done
he
it in
gives
a
you
Mets
the
uniform.
yeah, exactly. If you see the 713 OPS that he had in 2023 with Milwaukee,
Yeah, that's fine.
Which, with as much as he hits line drives, not to mention his hit probability, which I don't really tap into as much, but there could be something there. Like you could get something where maybe the bat does have some upside, even when I'm talking about a guy who's Tyrone Taylor's 32 now. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. And he's a free agent at the end of the year. So maybe he has a great contract year. You never know. Why are you so mean to him? Why are you so mean to Rome?
I need an outfielder every year to hate on. I mean, we got Bader,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Siri, Conforto.
That's
it's
right.
his turn. Like he's next up.
Bader, Siri, Conforto, Canna was another one. Canna was one.
No, McKenna was all right.
Canna was all right.
is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There was some good batting average in there.
There was some good batting average, yes. Good hit by pitch.
Gave you some food advice.
Even Canna, I would have been more okay with starting for now until Ben's here than Tyrone Taylor.
Canna right now.
Then Tyrone Taylor,
Have you seen what Mark Canna's been doing recently?
don't care. It's better than Tyrone Taylor.
Okay.
Offensively,
Since they traded him, he has not been good.
I mean, he's
Hey,
old, but
you never know. You ask someone why they are mean. Well, hey, I am mean when I need to be. Okay, I mean all the time to Ibby as well. That's basically it. That's the shtick. Anyways, let's get into the full headline of this episode, which we haven't even gotten into yet because we've just been yapping like crazy. Either way, let's actually grade this offseason. Now, the last time that we did this with letter grades. And I feel like there is a little bit of hedging that goes on with letter grades where it's like, oh, I have this here. So I want to go a little bit more straightforward, and we're going to do a little bit of a different grading system with this instead of the letters. We are going to do what I like to call a 5x3 grading criteria, where it is 3
Andrew
letter
was hoping
words.
for food.
Okay.
we were hoping for
Yeah.
is this like in the meat section? Is
All right.
this-
So here's how we're gonna rank this. Okay. There's 5 different categories that we will put it into. There's gem. Okay. A gem, meaning it is a 99.9% flawless offseason move with 0% concern. There's a hit, HIT, above average offseason move that fixes a need. Then there is mix, 50-50 on this one, with plenty of mixed feelings. Then there's meh, MEH, which is a below average offseason move with multiple concerns. And then there is a dud, a complete whiff of an offseason move that you guys believe they will regret. Everybody got that? Andrew, you writing that down? Anybody? Y'all got that? All right. So we're just putting them in 5 different categories. That's literally it. Okay. So let me switch this over here. Now we have, let's see, what is it? 9 different moves that they made. So we'll try to go a little bit quicker, obviously, in comparison to the usual quickness. Either way, just stalling, trying to get this up on here. Whoop, there we go. Perfect. Awesome. I have the criteria there in the bottom right for anybody that's wondering what we are doing here. So it's basically what we think about this move here. So the first one, we'll start off with the first of culture-changing moves. That was the Marcus Semien, acquired from Texas for Brandon Nimmo, a longtime tenured Met, out the door. Andrew, since this one is the closest to your heart, I'll let you go first on this one. What do you think about this move?
All right, since I got 5 different seasonings here, I got to go find my level of hotness. So I guess I'll go meh. Again, that was more of a contract move. So, again, it's fine. Again, Semien gives you better run prevention up the middle. The bat, you just hope maybe with getting out of Texas, new hitting coaches, that you can get at least a league average bat with good defense. Again, it's a money move. Former All-Star, so that's good photographs. So I'll go meh.
All right, so it brings up the stock. All right, well, Ricardo was saying hit, that this was a hit. John, I'll go to you on this one. What are your thoughts on Semien coming to the Mets for Brandon Nimmo?
So I just kind of adjusted for inflation, sort of. I'm with Ricardo. To me, on the surf, getting Semien is mix. But I'm going to give it a hit because you were able to get out from Brandon Nimmo's contract. To me, that is such an important linchpin to this entire offseason. They said as much, right? It was reported, then Stearns basically came out and said it. So to me, and there's a chance Brandon Nimmo has a really good offensive year in 2026. I don't know what he does in 2027, and I don't want any part of Brandon Nimmo at 38 years old at the end of that contract. I will take this all day for that. So for me, it's a hit just because you were able to get rid of that contract.
Okay. I mean, there's certain aspects that you can go out because, again, you're trading a left fielder for a second baseman. So it was a little bit of a shift as to where they're getting the production in these certain positions. Frank, I don't remember you being so happy about this deal.
Yeah.
Did it change a little bit with them making the changes afterwards where it makes a little bit more sense? I mean,
from the jump,
whatever.
It was hard to sell me on a guy who's turning 35 next year on a multi-year deal. Just no matter who the player is, right off the bat, that's tough for me. A guy who's coming, below league averages, showing that he is getting older, getting worse every season. That's a problem. But, trading info for outfielder, it's not a big deal if at some point in the offseason you get an outfielder. So my thing was when the trade happened, I didn't love it for who they got back. But I said, okay, well, let's see how the offseason progresses. And all I've seen since then is just more infielders and more infielders and more infielders to the point where we just finished that conversation that because of this trade, Tyrone Taylor might still be starting in the outfield with you adding Luis Robert. What? How is that even possible?
Okay.
So to me, it's I'm a meh on it because I just feel I don't love that they still don't have another true good offensive quarter hang outfielder and then just relying on a rookie and Carson Bench. If Carson Bench is that guy, great, but you're banking on a lot here.
Yeah, Ricardo's saying Marcus is my surprise player for this season. And listen, he had a rough offensive year last year. Does it have more to do with him fouling a ball off of his foot? I don't know. He's already been in contact with a lot of the hitting coaches, so maybe they can get something out of him, but I think it's more of just shoring the defense up the middle. I'm going to actually go with hit on this one like John did because I'm going to agree with him here because, again, it's more of just the technical standpoint of getting rid of a Brandon Nimmo contract that seemed to be the aircraft carrier of this offseason. And it seemed like throughout reports, they were like, well, they wanted to move this deal for them to, maneuver what they can do this offseason.
But what maneuvering did it allow them? They got a bunch of 3-year deals. Like Simeon's here for multiple years, getting paid more money. So what did it actually do for them?
It opened up the possibility. Like Stearns has always said that he wants to be able to partake in all levels of free agency for every offseason.
So that
they wouldn't have been able to pursue.
It's like, I could offer a huge deal to Kyle Tucker just for the Dodgers to outbid me. But at least I had the ability to do it because Nimmo's not here. But I didn't get the guy. Now, if you made the same trade and got Kyle Tucker, then I'd be like, oh, this is great. Like, he allows us to get Kyle Tucker, and that's better fit for the outfield.
Like anything.
They
did try.
They always try, but the Dodgers always try harder. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really the
want us to
Dodgers
do
trying
that?
harder. The Dodgers, this is the second time, Yamamoto being the first, where a player takes the deal from the Mets and is like,
well,
you
Trevor
do this,
Bauer
you do this
also.
Deal?
They did it with him too.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
Bauer did
different
that.
situation,
That's
but
true. Yeah,
it
but
did happen there as well.
I can't count that because
Edwin Diaz, there's another one.
Diaz. Yeah.
I mean, listen, if the player is taking, and then the player's agent is taking that
If
deal
they
and
want to
saying,
go to the
"You match
Dodgers,
it,"
they go to the Dodgers. I mean, there's nothing there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, there really isn't. I mean, and the Mets obviously have that financial flexibility where they can continue to outbid, obviously, but they have to be smart about it. But again, I do think that this move will be a little bit better. I think that there's a little bit left in this bat, and I'm in the minority here when it comes to it. I think that there's a little bit left. However, there is a possibility that, again, you don't get the best offensive production from him that you typically were expecting 3 years ago. It's all really just about sure-handing the defense up the middle, not doing the same mistake twice or doing the same thing 4 times like they continued to do, of having Jeff McNeil up the middle with Francisco Lindor, which was not a good pairing from the get-go. So it helps. It's an expensive ad. And I do agree, Frank, there is a point of emphasis, though, where it would have been more expensive with the alternative, where Brandon Nimmo is rotting on your roster for 5 years. Because if they didn't trade Brandon Nimmo at the time that they did, it would have been bad. Like it was going to get bad. Like if they waited out the way that they waited out with a certain someone we'll get into, you're getting either nothing back or nobody to cover that contract. You're probably going to have to do what Nick Castellanos, what they did, and just eat the money.
or what the Cardinals are doing, covering a bunch of Arenado's deal.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Nimmo is going to be to that level.
Contract for bad contract deals. I just think
it's true.
For me, and the other thing too is that when you're the Mets and you have Steve Cohen, I don't think you make moves for contracts. I think you make moves to get better. I don't think you're a small market team.
I get
it,
but you also
we
had
need
a
better
need here with
contracts to
Simeon.
maneuver. We're not in basketball where the cap is like so like it really constrains us to what we could do here. Like,
it wasn't
this
about the
baseball
cap.
where you do whatever
it wasn't
you
about
want.
the cap.
Like,
It was about the term. The term is the problem.
Where does
Yeah.
Brandon Nimmo he doesn't.
I don't
have a
care about
spot on this
AV.
team.
I just don't at all.
Yeah, like
AV doesn't bother me at all.
To me, it's not about the money as much as he's gonna clog up this roster, and he's not gonna do it in a way that helps you. And like we already talked about, you can move Soto to left field now. That's a benefit. You yourself mentioned he's probably going to move to first base at some point, and then he'll be a DH, but he's Juan Soto. I mean, how are you moving him around if you have Brandon Nimmo taking up all, like, just being 8 years older than him, just moving one step ahead of him the whole way? Like, I don't want a team where Brandon Nimmo has to be your DH because he's 35 and his ankles are shot.
I think this move at face value, it gives you a meh, but I think that it also can be seen as a hit when we're talking about the attention to detail. Like when you're talking about base running or defense, it's just an expensive hit. It's an expensive hit. It is. However, like I said, the entirety of the alternative was having Brandon Nimmo out there in left field, hobbling and aging the way that he is. They needed for this team to get more flexible, more tools, more traits, and that's what Simeon gives you. So
we're also going to have a 37-year-old Simeon playing at one point too, just like you talk about.
And
how
37-year-old Simeon will be
Nimmo
swiping
playing
more bags and playing better defense than Brandon Nimmo. I can tell you that right now.
I will say this, and I think Ibby is still in the comments, but because he will attest to this. I said at the time that I didn't want to give Brandon Nimmo the contract that he got with the Mets. I would have let him walk. And so I'm not a
different GM. Everyone said he
sure,
got too many years.
But so I'm with Stearns on if I took over as GM, I'd be like, what the fuck is this contract? I don't want this. We paid him like a top flight center fielder. He played center field for 1 year on the deal, and now he's just a bad defensive player.
Ibby confirming that this is a true story. Okay. There you go. Yeah. It's, again, the guy to blame for this is Billy Epler. That's literally it. That's the guy to blame. Blame it on Billy Epler for past regimes, guys being stupid, and that's how they're trying to change their ways, but this was the only way that they could get creative for it. We'll see. I don't know, but I do think that there's a little bit left. Could it be brutal for the last year? I don't know, but as of right now, I think that you have Simeon here up the middle to shore the defense up the middle. And I also think he's a good clubhouse guy as well. And like we said, of guys priding themselves in playing every day. When John brought that up, I kind of giggled because that was one thing that Simeon butted heads with Seager for, where he was like, hey, you play 40 games a year every year in Texas. So it seemed like in those certain details, this was a move that needed to be made as to a clubhouse that needed a leader and also a clubhouse that needed, an outfielder or needed veteran pieces or also whatever the hell the Texas Rangers are doing because they've just become a relic since they have become since they were World Series champions. Either way, moving on to another move that was made that in spite of Edwin Diaz leaving, Devin Williams, 3 years, $51 million, sliding in to be the closer as of right now. Frank, I'll swing this one right back to you. Devin Williams is going to be your closer after a year in New York, which was not fantastic. And Edwin Diaz not here.
Yeah, overall, I'll call it the hit. Only because it does address a need, because when you lose Diaz, you do need a closer, even though at the time when they signed, the hope was that we would still have Diaz. He would be more of a setup man. But overall, there still is some concern because, yes, he did lose the closer job with the Yankees. He did have a lot of struggles in his first year in New York, particularly in the ninth inning. There were just a lot of ugly outings for him. And there were some concerns of, the mental toughness, as far as it just felt like things were kind of snowballed a little bit, and he was just totally out of it. It's if he had a bad stretch, it just felt like that bad stretch lingered, and he wasn't able to just kind of bounce back and get right into it. So I think, on a multi-year, and we always say, multi-year deals for relievers, we can't do that. They did that, but I think overall with what else was left this offseason, they're kind of forced to do this. So I understand it in that aspect. So overall, it's an upgrade for what they need for closer, because right now, who else was it going to be? But overall, there are some concerns.
Yeah, obviously. I think that there's a back of your mind thing. And when we can compare this to Edwin Diaz, we remember his first year in New York. That didn't go well. And we also talked about the mental aspect with him as well. Well, Devin Williams already had that first year in New York already. So that maybe that's an advantage. And yes, you can see it as a hit because we do know that relievers can be fickle. However, we know that Devin Williams, at his best, or maybe on a typical day, he's really good. He's one of the best relievers in all of baseball. So maybe he bounces back. Underlying numbers say so. John, do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I'm going to go hit on this. I think that if they brought back Diaz and Williams was the setup man, this would be Gem. But in a vacuum, it is excellent. And honestly, it doesn't really fall short of Gem for me overall, just because some of the things you mentioned. This is a guy who, with Diaz and Josh Hader, was one of the top 3 relievers in baseball. At times, he was the best reliever in baseball with those guys. I think he's primed for a bounce back. The under the hood numbers look really, really good, despite the fact that, yes, probably some things with pressure and stuff in between the ears and whatever. His bad first year with the Yankees was better than Diaz's bad first year with the Mets, and everybody loved Diaz after the fact. I also think, adjusted for the contract, you could tell me that this is a better deal. than what the Dodgers signed Diaz for. Like over the next 3 years, could Devin Williams be better than Diaz? He could. I don't know that he's going to be. I'm not going to.
He's done it before.
As a
like he has had better seasons than him before. Yeah,
exactly my point. And he's less reliant on the fastball. And as Diaz, we talked a lot about getting older. Diaz very reliant on his fastball velocity. And so, look, I think this could be a real win for the Mets, but in and of itself, it's a hit. I really like Devin Williams. I think a lot of people soured on him because he was bad across town and because Pete Alonso hit a home run off of him, which, by the way, was the first home run that Devin Williams allowed to a right-hander on his changeup all season. So let's pause a little bit there and like before we say like, oh, he's broken and he's all this. So I think it's a hit. I think it's a really solid move.
And I think it was a good way to troll Yankee fans, but I don't think anybody really meant it. Like nobody really meant it. We're like, oh yeah, he's completely broken.
Though. Some people
did. Some people did. Some people take it to the grave, but like we all know how good Devin Williams is. And, again, people look closer at the players on their team in comparison to other guys where it's like, well, I saw him screw up, I'm going to troll. Either way, Andrew, before I go to you, we do have some news. Zach Gallen is back with the D-backs, something that I thought was going to happen a lot quicker because if any other team signed him, they would be giving up a first-round pick, which is not worth Zach Gallen as of right now in comparison to what he was 2 years ago. Andrew, I will go to you. What do you think about Devin Williams, the air bender? He bends air.
Guess I'll do the trifecta and I have it as a hit. Again, it can't be a gem because, again, we understand, and like John is right. There's a world where Devin Williams is better than Edwin Diaz. Like there is a world. Like we've seen it previous years. But like my thing is, you can't if you have the best in something, even as finical as relievers are, you let him walk for a couple $1 million. Yes, Devin Williams was here beforehand, understandably, and it can be good. When you had the best in the building, you let the best walk out of your building. Anything you bring in, you can't be the best. So again, he'll be fine. I bet you he'll be a really good closer as a Met. Understand? So again, I think it's a hit. But again, it's a fine contract. Again, if he's better than Diaz, we'll see. But we all know, again, he went for $2 million. You can't be that bad.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do the clean sweep here. I was going to do a complete dud as the biased Edwin Diaz fan that I am. But I'm not 12 years old. So, and I can look at this and evaluate this as a Mets fan and not as a Diaz fan. Devin Williams is one of the best relievers in all of baseball. Like I said, good underlying numbers. You have a new pitching coach here. To be honest, if Hefner stayed, and this is if Hefner stayed and they brought in Devin Williams instead of Edwin Diaz, then I'd be like, okay, maybe this is a meh, to be honest, because I have no faith in Hefner making anybody better, but maybe we'll have a little bit more faith in Justin Willard. You never know. Exactly, as Ibby says in the chat. Edwin Diaz, never heard of him. We move on. One of my favorite Mets on. I'm good. We're moving on. Moving on to better things. Was I upset in the first 48 hours? Sure. But hey, what are you going to do? Jorge Polanco, 2 years, $40 million. Great season last year in Seattle. Will be playing first base regularly as well. So you can take that into account. Andrew, I'll swing it right back to you. Jorge Polanco.
Well, I'll give it a hit. I mean, yeah, again, you don't love him, when you heard the news, he's the first baseman. But again, I'm just banking on the bat. And as Billy said in Moneyball, it's first base. It's not that hard. And we had literally the worst defensive first baseman play. So we literally can't get worse. So you know what? It's an upgrade in that.
But he scoops.
But he does. Yes, we understand the orange bear.
He scoops the ice cream that Max Kranick ate as a kid. That's a double joke, by the way, for Evan and Matt in the chat. If they're still here, I don't know.
If they're still here, there you go. Yeah, again, it's a bat. It's a different profile, and again, it's different. People don't like change. Something happened. Again, it's a bat that you needed, and if he duplicates what he's done in Minnesota and the last year in Seattle, you're getting offensive production. Yes, that one outlier year, his first year in Seattle. Go look at any offensive player going to hit in Seattle. They suck. Anyone, Teoscar Hernandez, Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker, name anyone who goes to Seattle. You can't hit in that ballpark. It is annoying. The batter's eye, it's a bunch of weather. It's weird. It's Seattle. It's not even a real place. But Again,
It's a nice ballpark. It's a nice ballpark to watch.
It's a beautiful ballpark.
It doesn't seem real.
It is
It's not. It's a
beautiful.
nice place. It doesn't seem like a real city. It's like beautiful. You know?
And again, it's a different approach offensively, and that's what you wanted an offensive shakeup. This is part of it. So again, is it going to replace the Orange Bear? And you're going to hate that first? We all know that first booted scoop, or if he, God forbid, he can't throw to first base to a pitcher, then we're going to have the army of drones going crazy, even though that guy couldn't do it either. So again, it has its risks because defensive side, but again, I don't really care about defense. Hit nukes, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. John, I'll go to you. Jorge Polanco.
This is a tough one for me. I'm going to say mix on this.
Okay.
I want it to be better, and I think it will be better. I'm just going off of, I don't know. I feel like there are some variables here where, he's not been the player that he was last year for the entirety of his career. And the point that that Andrew makes about going into Seattle that first year, that's well taken. But he's had boom and bust seasons before.
Sure.
He's also not been a fully healthy player before. Do I think he'll take to first base? I do. I think he's athletic enough. I do like the fact that he's a switch hitter and he's a different profile guy and he's a gamer and he's a put the ball in play guy and he hit 2 home runs off Tarek Skubal in a playoff game. Like that is all
His future teammate. Yep, exactly.
No, there's a lot there to really like. I would like it a bit and look, I think again, there's a world where he could be a better defensive first baseman than Pete Alonso on day one. But I would like this a little bit better if he had already played first base for somebody else so that we could just kind of know that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
There's just some things that, again, they're not scientific, but I can't call it a hit. They're pulling me down a little bit, but I want, there's a world where we get to the end of the season and I'm like, you know what? It really was a hit. It really was. Cause this has been a good signing, gamer guy, clubhouse guy, like all the things that you want in totality make it better. But yeah, listen, right now he's probably projected to be your 4-hitter on this team, right? And just 1 for 1, would I rather have Pete Alonso hitting 4th or Jorge Polanco hitting 4th in this lineup? I'd rather have Pete Alonso hitting 4th. I gotta be honest, just for all of Pete's deficiencies and stuff. So there are just some things that pull this down a little bit more than I even want them to, because I want this to be a hit, but it has to be a mix. I can't get to hit.
All right. Frank?
Yeah, I'm also a mix. A lot of the same sentiment, but my thing more so is that I understand you can have struggles first year going to any new place that can happen. We've seen that across the league,
Sure.
But I think 200-point different OPS is pretty drastic. I'm just I don't think he's the guy that had a 651 OPS, but I also don't think he's the guy that is 821 OPS. I feel like he's somewhere in the middle, and I feel like the Mets paid him like he's the guy who had the 821 OPS. And I'm also, I don't love out of position. And especially it's not so much, it's not even secondary position. It is out of position. Cause John said, he just hasn't played it at all. If it's something where he plays some first base, but mostly second base, then okay, fine. But no first base at all. Listen, maybe he'll learn it. And they're showing videos, on Twitter already of him, doing scoops. This way you can scoop all the ice cream you want. But overall, it's let's see what happens in full game action. The decision making, the diving on, for the ball down the line, the flips to the pitcher. I mean, this would be the real test. Can you not injure our pitchers when the ball's hit to you? If he
would
does
be awesome,
that,
wouldn't it?
That's a huge upgrade. But overall, I'm kind of the same thing. Where right now it's a mix, but it's something that could be better when the year's over.
Yeah, I mean, again, offensive production. If you want to talk about him just career-wise, and I just have it here on my phone because I have the 2 screens occupied right now. If he were to slash 263, 330, 442, a 112 weighted runs created plus, that is his career slash line. Would you take that as offensive production, Frank?
Can you say it one? Can you say it one more time?
263.
How many home runs? Give you that?
I mean, I can give you the 162 game average, but I'll have to go to
Well, he's not
Baseball
playing
Reference with
162,
this.
so I mean,
I don't know. He may be an Iron Man. He probably won't be. No. Let's see. 162 game average would be 23.
So what's the combined numbers? 23 home runs.
Yeah.
And then
So
what the other ones.
So his career numbers: 263, 330, 442, a career 112 weighted runs created plus, and 162 game averages are 23 home runs and 85 runs batted in.
That's a hit for me if he does that. It is.
Yeah,
If he does
they-
that and plays first base and he's just average, because I think Pete Alonso's a below average first baseman totally, then it would be a hit if he did that.
We'll
it's
see.
20 points
We will
down
see.
OPS plus from last season though. So
Sure.
and that's
Again,
that's about like what Beatty.
And I
finished
also
at
do think
at the end of the season.
that has to do with a lot of the strikeout numbers, which he trimmed down last year. So we'll see. Maybe there is a little bit more
Didn't
of
he
an
cut
emphasis
his
on that.
whiff rate in like half?
He did.
Didn't he go from like
definitely
28 to
did.
15%?
So if he were to regress that to the means, like I said, regress to the means of his career numbers, I'm going to give this a hit because I just think it's a jack of all trades hitter. And again, at first base, I think that, again, it's a first base type of, the type of production, obviously, you would love to get the huge home run production from a guy like Pete Alonso, but you're also getting that elsewhere with guys around the diamond. You can also get plenty of power with that. You'll see what happens. It all really just depends on, what type of hitter, he is in that cleanup spot. Because was he batting cleanup in Seattle? Andrew, you'd know this better than me. He was batting cleanup in Seattle, so who knows? I don't know. And we all know that he was the best high leverage hitter in all of baseball last year, right? It was like a 230 something weighted runs created plus, which is insane. And you know that a cleanup hitter gets a lot of high leverage plate appearances. So he's definitely in that moment a lot, but you never know. You got to do it on the big stage in New York, right? In New York, there's big pressure here.
And he's not
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's also a switch hitter. Yeah, I think it's jack of all trades. If he was seen as a DH, I think it would be seen as probably an expensive one. But he also can give you positional versatility if you have an injury to Bo Bichette,
I
who's
wouldn't
been
hate him
injured before.
as a DH. As a DH, I say a hit.
Wouldn't hate it either. And
but
like I
first
said, I
base,
already
think
wouldn't. I think that, let's say if this was, obviously they'd have to make a move with Vientos or whatever and make a decision there. But let's say if this was Polanco being the DH and they also signed Ryan O'Hearn, then I would be like, this is a gem. Automatic gem already.
That'd be a gem.
Really
That
just
would be a
about-
gem for me
yeah,
too.
Exactly. Anyways, speaking of gems of personalities, you like that segue? Luke Weaver, who again is, I've seen a lot of his interviews. This is a precious man. Okay, I'm protecting him with all my might because he's awesome. However, as a player on the field, 2 years, $22 million. Andrew, I'll swing this to you. What do you think about this one? Luke Weaver, Weave Dog, Daydream Weaver, whatever we're talking about, whatever we're calling him. I see people giving nicknames to Polanco. It'd be saying Platypus Polanco because I think we're giving him animal names.
Polo. Yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
No.
Polo?
We're not. It's
Polo
It's
horse?
Polo. That's-
Polo horse, if you're, if you played polo before, because we all know polo, very popular sport. Not really. Andrew?
Oh God.
I'm out stupidity
it's a
you
hit.
today, right?
Yeah, that's a hard decision, and about stupid
Yeah.
me, that's a fucking bar.
It's a hit?
Hit. I mean,
Okay.
especially for what else the market around there. Brad Keller, same contract. Again, if you wanted the better stuff, you could have went Brad Keller for the same contract. But overall, with the market, he has the New York pitching in New York. He knows that. Again, was he on top of my wish list? No, but again, it's a solid to be that seventh inning guy. He's replacing Tyler Rogers. If you want to correlate it to last year's team, he's the Tyler Rogers replacement. It's really cheaper than Tyler Rogers, getting $37 million and potentially a 4-year deal. Yeah, I would rather go the Luke Weaver route. So again, it's a hit. Does it have a little bit of good personality? We've seen the personality again, continuing to rebuild this locker room because they all hated each other and they were pulling out bandanas and machetes after the games. So now you bring in a bunch of good culture guys. change the room up. It fits perfectly fine with it. So again, it's a hit. Can he be a solid setup guy? Yeah. And again, in case of an emergency, he's already replaced Devin Williams in the 9th inning one. Why not do it again?
Yeah. And, we are definitely going to be relying on probably Weaver for a decent part of the first part of the season. We'll see how he does. AJ Minter is going to be down, obviously. We'll see where Brooks Raley is fit into this bullpen as well. John, I'll go to you on this one. Luke Weaver.
A lot of similar sentiment to Andrew on this. I'm going to go hit. Again, it's a good pitcher. It's a pitcher with New York experience. It's a pitcher with closing experience. To me, those are really important things when you're looking for late inning leverage guys. So that checks a lot of boxes. I know some people, and Andrew alluded to it. Some people have been, I would have rathered Keller. I would have rathered Rogers. Yeah, Keller has better stuff maybe, but I don't think it's a huge swing either way. And I was never given Rogers that contract. That's an insane 4-year deal to a guy who's not going to be a closer. I know he pitches every day and
he's
looks
36.
Weird. He's 36 years old though. Like to me, like, no. And like, I know it's all monopoly money and Steve Cohen, it doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
We don't care about AAV. That's just a stupid deal. It's a stupid deal. You give Diaz a 4-year deal. I'm not giving Rogers a 4-year deal. So this, to me, it's a hit. It's good. I'm in on it all day.
All right. Frank, another Yankee come across town.
So the Mets love to get former Yankees. I would say overall it's a hit. I mean, speaking of Yankees, once he got there, he was really able to turn around. I mean, because this is a guy that he had bounced around the league a little bit. He struggled with some other organizations. So you hope that whatever he learned with the Yankees, he's able to transfer that over. Because if he isn't, then it's going to look kind of ugly. But overall, I mean, he's put together a few consecutive solid seasons, which with relievers is hard to come by. We know a lot of guys could be year to year. So like we said, he just checks a lot of boxes, whether you want, New York, he's got consistency, late innings. So he could just do a lot of different things, which I feel like that's what we want in relievers. Like you want guys who could be used in multiple situations, and Luke Weaver could definitely accomplish that. So for me, replacing Tyler Rogers, I totally agree. 36 years old, 4 years. The money is real, bro. If the guy's not good, the guy's not good. The guy wasn't even good now. So like, why would we even want to do that now? Because he was someone that with his, he's like, Weaver's like a total opposite of Rogers because Rogers relies on the ball on the ground all the time, and sometimes it goes right past the infielders. Yeah. Meanwhile, Weaver, he is not a ground ball pitcher. So,
they had interest because obviously shoring up the middle. Because they shored up the middle, Simeon Lindor. They had interest in bringing back Rogers, but that price, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I'm going to go with the clean sweep here. I'm going to say it's a hit. Here, this is a analytical dream right here with the profile of his pitches right here. He has about 20 inches of induced vertical break on his fastball. Great secondaries, knows how to expand the zone, and hopefully they can utilize that. I know that he had like a hamstring injury that kind of threw him off a little bit and kind of screwed him up a little bit down the stretch with the Yankees last year. So hopefully that's healed up. And like I said, an amazing personality. Like this guy is usually I see a lot of guys that like have this cornball attitude. This guy has just the dry satire humor that I love. So I am definitely a team Weaver here. If it continues to go the way that it is, and he continues that personality like Miller. Yeah, exactly. Changes the culture. Really does. Really changes the culture. Speaking of culture, Jeff McNeil, you're on out of here. This is obviously a situation where they had to maneuver this contract because, they had to do so. And to be honest, I added it in here because I just love looking at him in an ace hat. It's great. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this one? McNeil's gone. Do you like it?
I did two of my favorite things. I was making mac and cheese when Jeff McNeil got traded. So I was eating my favorite food, and Jeff McNeil was shot out of a rocket and sent to the West Coast, hidden away. It's a gem. But here's the thing. I will be nice to the gerbil. I wouldn't be surprised in that minor league ballpark he hits 30 homers because it's the minor league ballpark. Who knows? If we see it, who knows? Let him have fun. He's going to play with Nicholas, Kurtz, Jacob Wilson. God knows what position he's going to play, but if he's in a minor league ballpark,
he's going to be the veteran leader.
He's the veteran leader, so I can't wait.
He's going to help the locker room.
Kurt. Yeah, exactly. He's going to be having Mr. Kurt picking up Jacob Wilson and just chucking him across the field when he strikes out, or Lawrence Butler or Denzel. When Denzel Clark doesn't rob a homer, he's just going to grab a sledgehammer and hit him. It's going to be great. It's going to be entertaining baseball.
Where are all these weapons? You said machete. Where are all these coming from?
Well, Amazon's pretty easy. You can just get it back to your house. It's great. But, again, you clear up the money. You get it. Whoever the prospect is, who really cares? You're free. He had to go because you brought in Marcus Semien for that with his contract. You couldn't have 2 second basemen making more than $15 million. So you had a team bite. He's out of here. You free up some money. Marcus Semien's the job. He can't be much worse. But at least he's a better attitude, and he wants to play baseball. That's okay.
All right, so you're calling this a hit or trolling and saying
it's a gem? No, it's a gem. It's not a hit. It's a grand slam.
All right. Whoops, not 2 M's. All right, John, I'll go to you. I know that you share kind of the same sentiment here with me and Andrew.
Yeah, listen, man, keep that. I know you're doing it on screen. Keep that purple ink flowing. It's a gem. I hate Jeff McNeil. He sucks. I'm tired of watching him hit 73-mile-an-hour ground balls to shortstop with 2 runners on and people saying he's a good situational hitter. I'm tired of his piss poor attitude. I would have traded him the day he got into a fight with Francisco Lindor the first time. I just am tired of everything about him. People think that he's a good baseball player because they're 65 years old and older and they don't understand what it is. They're the same people that think Luis Arraez is a good baseball player in the modern MLB. Anybody who tries to lump these people in with players like Tony Gwynn and Rod Carew are insane. He sucks. I don't care what the return is. I don't care how much money they had to pay. I would have paid some of the money myself. I would have flew him out here on my own dime to Sacramento. I will say, I think Andrew's right. Like, he could hit in that ballpark. That's definitely something. He'll probably have a good year and people will go, oh my God, you see what we gave up? He's back. He's not back. He sucks. That place sucks. Good for him. Couldn't have happened to a worse player and a worse team and a worse owner. I hope he doesn't have a career by the time they get to Vegas. I hate Jeff McNeil. God, good riddance.
He said it, not me. All right. Well, I'll go to the Jeff McNeil fan last. Frank, this is one of your favorite Mets. Your favorite Met, your guy, obviously.
This isn't Francisco.
But just to say, okay, I will say there is a little bit of a sentiment here. There's this consolation prize. My dad is a big A's fan, so he's staying in the family. So he still will troll me somehow. Okay, it's just going to stay offline.
If we have that, then I mean that's good. But I mean overall, like, we're talking about Jeff McNeil, the 240 hitter. Like, it's hard to really love that. I mean, you really can't do much with it. And I think overall, like we mentioned, Beatty kind of does all of this already, much younger at a much cheaper price. So fit-wise, Semien here, it wasn't going to work out. So I'm going to have to say... I'm just gonna say purple because I like the color purple.
I know. I was gonna say I thought Frank. I thought you were gonna say hit just to temper it after my rant. But it really is. All jokes aside, it's a gem deal. You had to get that guy off the team. He didn't fit.
All right. Well, I mean, I agree that it had to happen. I definitely do. But there is a reason that was already brought up as to why I'm going to label this a hit. John said that I would have traded him away when he got into a fight with Francisco Lindor. That is when I would have traded him away. And the reason why I'm giving this a hit is because this should have happened years ago. It should have happened years ago. I don't like his attitude. I've already talked about it plenty of times. I think he's completely outdated. I think that he's aging. I think that I don't know how many times he's gone now. So like, I don't even have that list of bullet points that I can show as to why I am tired of this guy. It's just, it's gotta go. It had to end. It was a tube of toothpaste that they just kept on trying to squeeze out as much as they could until there was nothing left. And to the Mets fans that constantly tell me how Jeff McNeil is so valuable, you had to pay another team to take him, and you got a 17-year-old lottery ticket in exchange for him. So that's how Major League Baseball views Jeff McNeil. And that's how I view him. It's just, again, this should have happened years ago. I'm tired of it. I'm glad that it's to rest. I'm glad that he was the last guy of that 2019 core to finally end it. End that core of failure that won nothing. And to be honest, I think they're all kind of losers. But whatever, because all they did was lose. Whatever.
You know, Carson, just to add to your point, because I see where you're coming from, I will say this. He would have had higher value if they traded him then also.
Yeah.
You would have gotten something better back for him because he was still closer to the person that got the extension.
Instead they extended him in his 30s, which is just completely stupid. One of the many reasons why Billy Epler should not be a general manager. They just went completely ass backwards with it. That's basically it. It's just it went on too long, way too long, and it's just the constant overcompensating of, well, he can play this position, he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. Speaking of a guy who can actually play the position he's going to play, that being Luis Robert, who the Mets acquired for Luis Angel Acuna. We can also call Seth Curry as well. And Truman Pauly, who was a 13th round pick in 2025 by the Mets in the draft, pitched 4 innings in the minor leagues this year. They get their center fielder. Mets were attached to Luis Robert for a while. They finally get him, obviously coming off of 2 rough seasons. Andrew, I'll go to you. I know that you're a big Robert guy. So what are your thoughts on the Mets finally getting Luis Robert to play center field?
Again, it took long enough. And I'm going to take into consideration the very small package that was sent to Chicago, the constant waiting.
Emphasis
of
on
this
small.
And
the small switch hitter that was sent to Chicago.
The switch hitting little person that's going to play all over the place for the White Sox. And I am bullish that I'm not saying we're getting back to that MVP candidate, but I think you are going to get an above average offensive player plus the great defense in center field. And just for Frank's point, Tyrone Taylor is no longer, as of now, starting outfield. Yes, to be determined if it is true, but it puts Tyrone Taylor back into the bench. And again, this was the best upside play if you were going for an outfielder. Obviously, besides Kyle Tucker, which they tried, everyone else on that market, we could have brought back Harrison Bader and done other things. This was the most boom or bust. And if it sucks, it's a 1-year deal. You don't pick up the option. So again, it's in line with everything else the Mets have done throughout this offseason. It is, you have 1 guaranteed year. If it's good, you have that second option that you're getting a top 10 center fielder at $20 million. You pick it up, and there you go. So I'm going to give it a hit. But again, it does have that ability to blow up in your face and be an Keon Broxton, Jose Siri, Jake Marisnick, to the long line of center fielders that have been added. But again, I've been bullish on him. And again, I just believe putting him next to Juan Soto and getting some friends that don't suck out of Kmart, he can be better than what he was.
Out of Kmart. Cool. All right. John, I'll go to you.
Okay. I'm swinging big on this one.
Uh-oh.
I'm going gem.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going gem on this. And
you know what? I am going to agree with you on this one as well. So I'm going to go gem with this too.
Here's why. I think Andrew said a lot of the positives there. Now, I'm pretty bullish on him. I don't think we're going to get MVP candidate, but I do think we are going to get something in between what he has been and what he was in 2023. And I think if you do that, you couple it with the defense, it's a no-brainer. You factor in the cost of acquisition, which was very little. You factor in that he is controllable or not, depending on what happens, like Andrew mentioned. So if he's bad, no big deal. 1-year deal, no such thing as a bad 1-year deal. You're out of it. If he's good, you control his rights and you get to keep him for another year of his prime. He is an elite defensive center fielder, one of the best in the sport. You needed that. You pushed Tyrone Taylor to the bench. Like he said, you don't have to watch Cedric Mullins. You don't have to watch Jeff McNeil be out there and do any of this. Good. You allow Carson Benz to develop in a place that is better suited for him, which is a corner spot anyway. And even when he was at his worst, Luis Robert, he is a guy who can mash lefties. He has not stopped doing that. So even if he has not changed at all, which I don't think is going to be the case, he is still a guy who against left-handed pitching, you could throw up into the 5th spot in your lineup because he's going to hit these guys. So I think he gives you so much for so little that it has to be a gem. Also, when you go out and you add high contact guys like Simeon, Polanco, and Bichette, you can take a swing on this guy. Pun fully intended, who, maybe some of his swing decisions aren't the best and he strikes out. Well, you know what? You don't have other guys in the lineup that really do that anymore. So why not bank on the upsides? To me, it's just a gem. It's a good no-brainer move.
I agree with it because it basically fits into what this team needs in center field. They need a guy who can go and get it in center field, has a strong arm in center field. He can steal bases, put guys into position. He walked a lot last year in total. I think it was a career high walk total, I think, in detail. However, at face value, he has struggled these last 2 years. And I think that this is again, my hot take of this entire grading here, where I do think that this is going to pay off. Do I think that this is a 40-40 talent that he was seen as a prospect? Probably not. But I think that this is going to be seen as a really good center fielder for this team. And he's going to be a viable option for this team. And, maybe that bigger stage helps him. Maybe he does rise to the occasion. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong and he is the same hitter that he was. But I do think that protected in this lineup, maybe there's a little bit leadership here, the message being sent, all those different components, maybe it helps. Maybe he needs a new hitting coach. The Mets needed a new hitting coach too.
Yep.
We're a perfect match. Robert, Frank,
I just want to add this to you really quick, Carson. He probably won't be the 40-40 talent, but I don't think 25 and 30 is out of the question. And when you factor that in with the kind of defense that he plays, I mean, that's amazing. That would be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously Jose Siri was going to do 40-40 last year, got injured, and it didn't happen. Frank, I'll go to you. So it's basically making up for that. So you traded a few assets for it, but it's whatever. Frank, I'll go to you on this one. Luis Robert, what do you think?
He's such a tricky one. I mean, really, this is the guy, he's like the hardest to figure out. I mean, 2023, you're talking about 38 home runs and then back-to-back seasons of 14. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The only thing he had was like the flexor strain a couple years ago where he missed a couple months, and he hasn't been the same since for whatever reason. Is it the hip? Did he just give up? I mean, that's something we've talked about. Is there work ethic concerns because it's the White Sox? Is the coaching around him just so bad because it's the White Sox? Like, there's so many different factors that you could say as to why he's struggling and why he hasn't been able to live up to what we thought he could be, like the trajectory that he was on at the time. Overall, I'm going to give it a hit because still it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, it's tough when I see back-to-back seasons of literally basically the same batting average. Like, he went 224 and then 223 the year after that. It's like, I don't think you could do that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was more so that like he's not trying or that the White Sox hitting coach is bad. Like, if you made no adjustments and you made no improvements, like, to me, there's some concerns there. I'm like, well, what am I getting really? If it was just 1 year, I'd say okay, maybe, but I just think overall it's like if the Mets do struggle though, are you going to give up again? And I've said that from Robert even last year. I was like, if things start going bad for the Mets, because they can go bad. I mean, the Mets missed the playoffs this year. The Mets will have their June swoon or anything like that. Is Robert just going to quit? Like he if that's what he was doing, that he just wasn't trying? I mean, because to me, I can't really think of another player who is this young who went from 38 home runs to 14 with no massive injury. Just suddenly like that.
But he does have the injury history, which I think is my only concern overall.
And it's like,
I think
but it's nothing major because the guy is still giving you, over 100 games every season.
I mean, it's the typical center fielder injury.
It's not like he had like a massive, shoulder. He didn't have a torn ACL. He didn't have a torn Achilles. He didn't have anything like that. He's had like these, things here or there, an oblique, a hip, a hamstring, like whatever. Like he had a bunch of different things. So if we can put a hit. Overall, I mean, like, if somehow he turns into God for 2023, even not that, but closer to it than this, gem. But right now, I have to stick at hit. I can't just guarantee that. I can't say 99% that he's that guy. It stinks because center field is such a tough position to get offense, though. I will say that like when you look at the other options, he has the most upside as far as the center fielders. Like if you were to look at the free agent guys, and a lot of the other like great two-way center field traders are not available for trade. So it's probably like your only route into trying to pull something like that off.
Yeah, the closest you probably had was like Jaron Duran, who is he's a guy you can plug in for 30-30, but
and he
not
also
as good of a
to
center
left field
fielder in
because they're
comparison to
Red Sox.
He's not as good of a center fielder in comparison to Luis Robert, who can play center field as a a premium center field, like incredible center field that she has throughout his entire career, even with him having his offensive struggles. But either way, Luis Garcia, we can go pretty quick on this one because the 1 year, $1.75 million, who knows if he even stays with the team that long. I'll start it off here. This is meh, to be honest. Like, yeah, he throws hard, but I also think there's a lot of emptiness here. But you never know. Maybe they tool him into something here. We'll go right down the line. Frank, I'll go right back to you. Relief. Yes.
Yeah. For me, I'll just put like mix because 1.75 million. It's not like it's gonna crush you. It's like, oh my gosh, this prevents us from getting so and so. It's like at the end of the day, you need arms. Like that's just how it works with pitching. You just need to find arms. He's old. I will tell you that the age is definitely concerning. But overall, with how many guys the Mets have who had like season-ending injuries, like they just need more arms in this organization. So for 1.75 million, you'll take it.
Yeah. All right. Andrew? Luis Garcia?
Meh. Again, another arm needed some velocity. He's not named Michael Kopech. I would have gone Kopech, but again, it's $1.5 million. Not, he's as of now guaranteed, but again, not a full guarantee to be on the roster if he gets outpitched in spring training. Again, you can't go wrong with another one of these flyer dudes.
This is a good point right here by Ricardo saying more intrigued by Kimbrel than him. It could be possible. You never know. John, I'll go to you.
That is really good from Ricardo. I really like that a lot. I'll kind of continue the one on, one off. I'll go mix on this. No such thing as a bad 1 year deal. Like I said before, guy throws hard. So there's some stuff there. He's a guy who had an up and down season last year, DFA'd at a point. So who knows what you're going to get. I think my favorite part about this deal is that he somehow gives you a little certainty in the bullpen while also giving you flexibility in the bullpen. And what I mean by that is you have Williams and Weaver and Rayleigh and Minter when he comes back that are all locks. They're going to be there. And then you have these kind of nebulous spots in the bullpen of what you're going to do and how you're going to fill them out, what young guy, which non-roster invitee. Garcia's kind of in the middle because you gave him the guaranteed major league deal, but it's for such a small amount of money that you could cut him tomorrow and no one would care. So I like that he gives you some certainty, but some flexibility too. And it's mix. It's kind of meh, but I think it's mix. It's a little bit of both.
I would compare it to like the $2 million that they gave to, it's even less than that. They gave to like Jake Diekman, who they DFA'd when he sucked. Like they could cut this loose if he's not doing well. And this is a good point here from Scotty Skills. We had it starred throughout the show here saying, I think the bullpen is going to have great additions from the minors, which is very possible. We know that Nate Lavender is back with the team after Tommy John surgery. He was with the Rays. He was returned as a Rule 5 pick. Dylan Ross, Ryan Lambert, two prospects who have, zoomed up the system. Either way, Bo Bichette, let's get to him. 3 years, $126 million. There is an opt-out after year 1 and year 2. It is a high AV deal, short-term, which he took instead of going to the Phillies for 7 years, $200 million. Which was very interesting, but he is young, so maybe he would want to test the market again. You never know. But as for right now, we have it as him playing third base for this team. Andrew, I'll go to you. This is your guy, Bo Bichette.
Yeah, not a guy. When you told me at the beginning of the offseason, I wouldn't have thought he'd be a Met in a million years. He's a Met, which is cool because you need to replace the offensive value of the Cheeto Bear. And again, it's a different way. Again, playing a new position. We'll see how the transition goes over to third base. But you needed another true stick in this lineup, and that is Bo Bichette. He's going to give you the production. I've already put a $10 bet that he's going to lead the National League in RBIs. With having guys like Lindor and Soto in front of him, he's going to be constantly having one or two guys on base. And he's the type of guy that Keith Hernandez is going to never shut up about. And that's going to be annoying all season when he's poking these little right center field singles that drive in, Lindor after a leadoff double or Soto after a double. So you get the offensive run production that you lost from Cheeto Bear, better flow, better biceps, just better overall player, better human being. So it's a gem. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Bo signing with us fast-tracked the contract talks for Keith Hernandez. You never know. You never know what's going on behind the scenes. So what did you call this? A gem? Gem, yeah. Okay. All right. Frank, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I mean, with Bo, it's nice to get a guy who just gives you like 130 OPS plus year after year, 28 years old. I love that because at first when we brought in Semien, we brought in Polanco, I was like, oh my gosh, we're getting a lot of senior citizens here. But when you got someone like Bo, that was nice. The third base aspect
Hot calling the kettle black, old man.
I just think the third base aspect is where I'm still just like, I don't know. I hope it works, but it's one like with the criteria of gem, I can't say 99% at third. I wonder how they're going to figure this out with him. And in general, he's just not a good defensive player. So I feel like, and the same thing with Polanco. Like Polanco wasn't a great defensive player either, and that's why like he moved off second base and was DHing for Seattle. So to move like a bad defensive player to out of position is also a problem for me. But yeah, we'll see if it works. So I mean, overall, we've had, and again, like I said earlier, though, a bat can make up for a glove. So we had Vientos at third, and we went deep into the playoffs with that formula. So with Bichette, like it's not gonna be the make or break for us. So I think overall, I'll just put a hit because I don't know how the defensive side is gonna work.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually piggyback off that just to save a little time. It's literally just that arm at third base, and also I still have that little like the health. It's just a concern. And listen, it's just because of how banged up he does get. He has a lot of soft tissue injuries. He does. And that's the main reason as to why I call this a hit, because this would be a mix if it was like a 7-year deal that Philly would have given to him, because I would have had a nightmare. I really would have, because that's what I expected him to get. And I was like, oh my God, we got him on a 3-year deal. That's awesome. And yes, he has some deficiencies, but we'll see how this works out. And maybe there is a point where, a guy isn't playing well or whatever. Semien is DHing because he's a little bit older, and Bo Bichette moves over to second base. Like, who knows what happens there? You have Beatty, who can play third base and pretty much can do everything. I mean, he could stop a speeding bullet. He's amazing. So, John, I'll go to you. Bo Bichette.
So, look, Bo hits. It's what he does. I think he'll come here. He'll hit. He's going to do what he's getting paid to do, which is drive in runs, hit for a high average, all of that stuff. That part of it is great. I actually mentioned him to Ibby on our show as a possibility early on because I don't believe in Brett Beatty. And I was like, hey, you want to go out there and get Bo Bichette? You want to go out there and get Alex Bregman? I got no issues with that because I thought the Mets needed a upgrade somewhere on the infield. I'm not going to say that I called it. I'm just saying my lack of faith in Beatty kind of led me to this road early on. Unlike you guys, I'm okay with, I think he'll be mostly healthy. I think he'll be fine. And I think he's going to play an average third base. I do. But I'm still going to call it a hit because I cannot call you can opt out after 1 year a gem. Now, it's not to say that I wanted him for a 7-year deal, but if this was an opt-out after 2, if this was a straight 3-year deal because he's young enough and he's like, screw it, I'll hit free agency again at 30. I'll show everybody I'm an excellent third baseman and I can get a $250 million deal then. Who cares, Then I would call this a gem. I would like a little bit more security with him. If he has the year that I think he's going to have, why wouldn't he opt out? And then you're kind of in this mix of like, do you say thank you or do you say, hey, you know what? maybe we can give you a little bit of, a longer term commitment here. But then to your point, I don't want it for 7 years. But if you look down the line of who could they tie to Soto for, prime meets prime, there's not a lot of free agents that are coming up. The perfect guy would have been Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It didn't happen. Perfect guy, perfect age, perfect profile. Bo Bichette's close, but there are some things that make you go, man, I'm not giving you 7 years. So I would have liked this to be a little bit of a different kind of deal. I think it was a smart deal for the Mets to make how they made it when they made it, but I would have liked at least 2 years guaranteed of Bichette. So, but I think on paper it's a good move, and I think he's going to be really good here.
I mean, I would say it's a good fit offensively. Like the lineup got better. I mean, he was the final hitter that they added, and I think that the lineup improved overall as a team in comparison to that in overall balance and overall depth. I think, again, when it came to Bo Bichette, this is a very balanced hitter, a very professional hitter. We know that he has done it a lot on the big stage as well. He's a great postseason hitter. And he's the type of hitter that I usually would not preach of, a guy who goes to the opposite field. He's a slap hitter. However, there also is a good fit. Remember JD Martinez, the right center field gap that he preached in comparison to what was going on in San Francisco as to why he signed here. So I see this as a fit. And again, as long as you don't have 400 of these guys who are taking middle fastballs to the opposite field, that's fine. Not to mention the prolificness of this guy's bat, where you could pencil him in for possibly, if you're a betting man, 2.5 hits a game over. You can take the over a lot on that. Like, he can produce a lot. And who's batting in front of him? Who's going to be batting in front of him? Guys who get on base a lot. Lindor, we'll see what happens with the injury, obviously, but we know that they like to pitch around Juan Soto. To pitch to Bichette can do a lot of damage. Breaking balls, fastballs, and off-speed pitches, batted .300 against all of them last year. And for his entire career, over .265. So,
and he wants to hit. That's the thing. Yeah. How many times did
True.
we see Alonso or Nimmo in spots, not to pick on them, but whatever, taking strikes right down the middle in high-pressure situations to start an at-bat? You're not
it's those little details.
A strike by Bo Bichette. And to your point, it doesn't even have to be first pitch fastball. You're going to throw a get-me-over breaking ball to Bo Bichette with 2 runners on? Good luck.
And it's also about the dynamic there. It's also about the dynamic because who's going to be batting in front of him? Juan Soto, who's a very patient hitter. Exactly. So it's one of those things that's like building the dynamic, deepening the lineup, and I think that they did a really good job with that. And again, I would put this as mix if it was a 7-year deal, because I don't like the look of his health, obviously, and obviously that profile is not something that I would prefer. However, if you do something prolifically, you do something prolifically, and he does. And we'll see. And the only thing keeping it from being a gem with this being a short-term contract is I don't know how that arm at third base is going to look. We'll see. We will see how that works. Maybe my guy, Ronnie Mauricio, can go into full gear, and he's playing third base with that rocket of an arm he has. The final icing on the cake, the cherry on top, the final move that was made. I see Frank smiling because he wanted this one to happen. Freddie Peralta is a New York Met, and he also had a friend come with him as well, Tobias Myers, who is a swingman. And he can be in the bullpen. He's had a really good career, shortened career as a reliever. They gave up Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat, 2 guys that were not drafted by David Stearns. Matt's saying it in the chat here that it's a gem, even with a diamond emoji as well. He went the extra mile. Frank?
I would make it blue too. It's higher than 99.9%. It's 100%. I mean, this is a move they needed. I mean, I've lost count of how many years I've said, who'd be a really good fit for the Mets? Freddie Peralta. I mean, that contract is just insanely good for the kind of quality that this guy puts out year in, year out. He's in a contract
diamond
year
status
now.
here?
I understand it. There you go, diamond status. Okay. He's Galaxy Hope. I mean, whatever you want to give him, I mean, let's do it. But I just think
what do they do now? Dark matter?
He's dark
I
matter.
He's
He's
whatever. I can't even catch up. I don't even play those games anymore.
Go all that guy. Get it all, man.
No, I love Peralta because, I mean, for the millionth time, 30 starts a year. Always, I mean, puts together great numbers. I mean, the Mets just didn't have that. Like, when's the last time Mets had this? The guy's out there every 5 days, and he doesn't, like, fall apart at the end of the season because, I'm tired now, I'm not good anymore. Like, this guy, he gives you 30 starts, and he's good the whole season. I mean, he was an all-star this past year. The age is good. He finished top 5 Cy Young. I mean, he's just one of the premier pitcher league. He led the league in wins. We know we love wins in the old school fashion. And, like, he'll go deeper into games. He's not a guy like, I'll give you 30 starts, but almost only going 5 innings. Like, no, Freddie Peralta's going to go deeper into the game. Like, he just does everything that this team needs. And for me, I would have already signed the extension. I mean, that's just me. Because it's like, if you're giving up, and even though we weren't high on Jet Williams, but still, if you're giving up like 2 top 5 prospects for Brandon Sproat, you're not doing it for rental. Like, you have to extend the guy. So that's like the second part of the deal to put it over the top. And then like Tobias Myers, like, that's awesome. I mean, here's a guy who's like 26, 27.
By the way, per a lot
of
advanced stat heads, one of the best at tunneling pitches.
And he got the tunnel
in all of baseball.
Great. So, I mean, and then you have Tobias Myers, who's like solid at a young age, which the Mets definitely needed. Like I said, you needed more arms. Here's a guy who's versatile. You want bullpen, maybe some starts for you. You need versatile pitchers. So that's great. And then even Peralta, like, I didn't even realize this is such a great guy, too. Like, you want to talk about, we need to fix the vibes, we need to fix the clubhouse. He's awesome at that. Like, he does literally everything. Like, he's perfect. Yeah. I mean, he is actually perfect. I love him. So,
coming
just
off
give
a
him
career
extension,
year 2,
and we're great.
Coming off a career year 2, he is one of 2 pitchers with 3 consecutive years of 200 strikeouts. I mean, how can you not love that? And also, you know, we've seen him have times where he's gone 5 innings, but he also does go deep into games. He's made 162 starts throughout his entire career. We know that quality starts, it's, 3 or fewer earned runs in 6 innings. He has gone at least 6 innings 66 times in his career. That is 40% of his starts. So, like, I mean, he definitely does go deep into games, and I just want to see guys pitch into the 6th inning, to be honest, which we didn't see that much. John?
Yes. First thing, I am going to have to run after this, but thank you guys for having me. This has been awesome.
Absolutely.
I love this grading system, by the way. When you first pulled it up, I was like, what are we going to do? And then I was like, actually, this kind of slaps. You can go ahead and just copy what Frank did said. You can copy the blue gem because I agree across the board. The only things that I can really add to it is that Freddie Peralta is, depending on who you talk to, he's about a top 20 starting pitcher in baseball. I think that's fair as it stands right now. Right? Some people maybe say top 15, some say 25, whatever. I think there is a chance that we are on the precipice of seeing Freddie Peralta take the next step. I think the Mets acquired a great pitcher that might be jumping into an even higher echelon based on some of the stuff under the hood. He seems to get better every year. He used to be fastball Freddie, and now you see the way he mixes his pitches. And if he continues to do that and he continues to grow, what you're going to do is not only get a guy on a 1-year, $8 million deal, but if you were to sign him to an extension, you'll probably get him on a team-friendly extension that is not only good for the pitcher that he is now, but might be excellent for the pitcher that we're about to see over the next 2 or 3 seasons. That's how good I think he is. That's how good I think he can become. The fact that they went out and got a guy who Stearns not only identified early in Milwaukee, but extended early, and there's a good relationship there, it leads me to believe that he is also prone or open to an extension now. And he's kind of already said that. I think it will happen. I think it's probably going to happen sometime over the next month. And when they do, this will be, I don't know if you can change this color to something else, but it will be even better than what it is right now. I know they had to give up a lot to get him, but I think it's worth it. He's exactly the right pitcher at exactly the right time for what the Mets needed. It also doesn't preclude them from going out and getting involved in Tarek Skubal if they want next year, because they have money coming off the books. They have pitchers coming off the books. It just makes so much sense. And then you get Tobias Myers with his option and his 5 years of control. Yeah, I know they gave up a lot.
Masterclass.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Andrew, before I swing it over to you, or Frank, if you have anything to say, but Gerald Frederick in the chat, this is hilarious. I would trust Freddie with my newborn.
Hell yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
I think
I don't
that
have a
feels like-
newborn, but I would trust Freddie with Jaro's
With your
newborn.
hypothetical newborn.
No, with Jaro's newborn.
Gerald's newborn. Okay.
Oh, with Jared.
You're signing it off. Okay.
Yeah.
Co-sign. Fred, Frank?
No, I just want to let John, if you want to do like an exit, he can.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
just do, like, a
okay, yeah.
little-
Word. Yeah.
outside.
I have to get dinner. It's a little earlier here
Yeah.
on the West Coast. No, guys, tremendous. I had so much fun here tonight. I'm happy that you guys asked me to do it. I will jump on anytime that you would like to have me here. Sorry I can't stay for the rest, but always good to talk to all of you. Talk to Carson a lot. Frank and Andrew not as much because you guys aren't in the mix as often as he is, and I am kind of just giving people crap on Twitter and whatnot, but I appreciate you guys having me here. I think the Mets are going to have a good season. I think we're all going to be pretty happy, once things start, and I am itching for baseball to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, links are in the description. Make sure to go follow John individually. Follow his show, Till Mets Do Us Part. They are live every Wednesday. You're usually live on Friday. We're kind of hijacking your, what is it, sister show you're calling it?
Yeah, sort
Like
of. I just do a
Yeah.
little solo show because I have the time now. It's called Walk Off Whiskey, usually at 7 p.m. on Fridays. But like I said, happy to preempt it when big news drops and we have to do Till Mets Do Us Part instead, or if I get an invitation from you guys or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
It's just kind of something I'm doing when there's nothing else happening, as far as my schedule goes. So, shout out to you guys. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, John. Always a pleasure. Maybe we'll get your co-host as well next time. All right. We'll see you. Either way, if you want to, we can finish off the grading here. Andrew, do you want to continue this sediment here with the diamond status?
No, because the glazing
Okay.
is insane. This dude is not that good. This dude is going to regress so much. He had a expected ERA of close a run higher. This dude is dog water, and we traded a 5-tool shortstop and a uncontrollable starting pitcher for this dude. I mean, come on, it's a solid meh. Even if you extend this guy, he's not Tarek Skubal. So why are we giving up prospects for a guy who's not Tarek Skubal? Could have just given him 7 prospects to Detroit. But we get this guy.
I'm just waiting for him to finish.
I'm not going to give it a full gem because, again, there needs to be I would give it a gem if it's an extension. I'm going to give him a hit because, again, there are some things that, again, I don't see him as an ace. I don't truly see him as the innings eater we need, but he's a good pitcher. Give him a hit.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same sentiment here. Extend him, and then it's diamond. That's it. Just extend him, which could possibly happen. I mean, let's not forget, David Stearns traded for him. When he was in Milwaukee. Now he trades for him again when he's with the Mets. So maybe there's like a little bit of trust here. They're like, oh, well, and maybe we talk about, the extension talks during spring training. You never know, because we all know how fun it was with Francisco Lindor all those years ago. That was fun, wasn't it?
I think too, like with Stearns, I've been very critical that I didn't think he'd be willing to move like top prospects to get like real meaningful, impactful players, and for him to finally do it with Peralta, I think number one tells you how he feels about Peralta in general. But number two, he wouldn't do that for a rental unless he knows for sure he's keeping him. And I think like for Jet Williams, we all knew that like we kind of knew what the ceiling was. I mean, we're like, you know what? It's like it'd be such a long shot for him to really be like this amazing like star player. And then for Sproat, it's like there's things I liked about him, obviously, but the hope with Sproat is that he could become as good as Peralta. And if he does, you tip your hat. But I just think like it's about time you take the safe bet. And I think that's kind of what the Mets have been missing is that like, you know what, for McLean, you know what, maybe McLean is better than Peralta next season, like ERA wise, because the stuff is just so great. Maybe, but I think with Peralta, he's still going to be that guy for you that's going deep into the game. He's giving you, the make every start. You just need that. Like, you just need that for this rotation. We said that so many times with how many guys got hurt, whether it's Mania, whether it's Senga, whether Clay Holmes, the way he fell apart at the end of the season, David Peterson, second half struggles. That's not gonna happen with Peralta, at least. And to me, that's what a true ace is. A guy that every 5 days is going to give me a quality start. Because I mean, there's some guys, like we said with Senga, the ERA might be better, the stuff might be better. But if you're falling apart for me and you're not there when I need you most, what's the point? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's kind of like, and also look at what Frambar Valdez got. Like, what?
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, that was the alternative? We gave Frambar that deal? Like, it was just, it was a great move. It really was.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, extend him. That's it. That's all I need. I love it. I think it's great. I think that if you extend him, it takes you out of the window. I don't want to deal with Freddie Peralta in free agency and also with Tyreek Skubal in free agent because I want a clear shot at him. Okay, because I'm ready to frickin' throw whatever I can at Tyreek Skubal. That's how special he is.
Just pick the casino up and throw it at him.
Throw the casino at him. Like, literally just throw the entire casino at him. Either way, that was a great grading session to recap the entirety of the offseason of those 9 major moves that they made for the Major League roster. Again, thanks to John for joining us. We have a little bit, I think we could probably stretch to the 3-hour mark if you guys want to. We don't have that much left, obviously, but there's one thing that we do have left, and that being a segment that we're bringing back from our pre-recorded days of this show, and that being the rapid fire stories. Now, obviously, we don't have those graphics on the show, on the screen anymore, so I figured I would put it into a pre-recorded video, which is about 2 minutes. So here are your rapid-fire stories for this week going into Valentine's Day. A total of 9 Mets minor leaguers and prospects have been invited to big league camp. The 9 players include outfielder Carson Bench, first baseman outfielder Ryan Clifford, infielder Jacob Reimer, outfielder AJ Ewing, catcher Chris Suaro, catcher Kevin Parada, right-handed pitcher Jack Wenninger, right-handed pitcher Ryan Lambert, and left-handed pitcher Nate Lavender. Mets right-handed pitcher Tobias Myers confirms that team officials expect him to be stretched out as a starting pitcher for the first part of spring training. The 27-year-old swingman has made 31 total starts out of his career 49 appearances at the major league level. Myers was acquired by the Mets from Milwaukee along with star pitcher Freddie Peralta less than 3 weeks ago. The Mets have acquired left-handed pitcher Brian Hudson from the Chicago White Sox for cash considerations. Hudson posted a 4.80 earned run average across just 15 innings pitched in 2025 following a dominant breakout season in 2024 with Milwaukee. As the corresponding move, the Mets have transferred right-handed pitcher Reed Garrett to the 60-day injured list, who is expected to miss a vast majority of 2026 recovering from Tommy John surgery. Mets pitching prospect Daviel Jurado will pitch for Team Cuba in the 2026 World Baseball Classic. The 21-year-old posted a 2.74 earned run average across 65 and 2/3 innings, split between the Mets Florida Complex League and Low A Port St. Lucie. Former Mets infielder Ruben Tejada will be joining the Phillies organization as a position coach at the Florida Complex League level this season. Tejada spent 6 seasons in Queens and was a member of the National League Championship Mets team in 2015. Former Mets outfielder Jose Siri has signed a minor league contract with the Los Angeles Angels. Siri was acquired by the Mets last offseason from Tampa Bay for right-handed pitcher Eric Orsi. The 30-year-old was sidelined for a majority of the 2025 season due to a leg injury, leading to him being designated for assignment shortly after his return to the big league club. Former Mets outfielder Terrence Gore has tragically passed away at the age of 34. Gore was a multi-time World Series champion with the Kansas City Royals in 2015 and the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2020 as a game-breaking base runner known for his elite speed. His short stint with the Mets was in 2022 as a late-season addition to their postseason roster. All right, so there are your rapid-fire stories. We are going to get into some closing yap session of like some other stuff. This is going to be our final thing. I think this is going to be Andrew's favorite segment. Some comments that we had in here that we'll get into. Obviously, yes, rest in peace to Terrence Gore. That was, I mean, that just came out of nowhere. That was crazy. I mean, we can if we want to talk a little bit about that, because we know that he was seen as kind of a folk hero around baseball. Obviously not an elite player by any means, but he definitely played a key role in some World Series teams. Obviously, 34 years old. I mean, life is precious. I mean, it's crazy. Apparently it was a routine procedure and something went wrong. That's crazy. Nuts. Frank, if you want to.
Yeah, no, it's tragic. I mean, you take it for granted, and you just never know. I mean, it happens a lot of different ways. I mean, very rare. I mean, your procedure, but it can. And you know what? It just prayers to his family, because it's just you just don't expect it. You just never know. You really just don't. So, like you said, great base stealer. I mean, no doubt about it. So, rest in peace. And this Mets was very short, like, you know what I mean, as far as how long he was here. I'm pretty sure we argued about. I'm pretty sure me and Andrew argued in favor of Gore being on the team for the postseason roster as a pinch runner. And Carson, who were you? I forget who you were like debating. On the roster.
I think it was because I was like, maybe it was like, I was like, you probably should have just kept like Travis Jankowski or something. There was something that I said. I don't even remember. Yeah, because we look back sometimes at some of the discussions we have, and we're like, this was so stupid. Like, what are we what were we talking about?
But Andrew and I were like on the turn score side, and Carson was against it. And Andrew was just like, I remember that. Like,
maybe it's just because like I tried to black out that Kansas City Royals series so far out of my memory that it all just went by in a blur. So I'm like, oh, what did Terrence Gore do? And it was like, oh, well, there it is. But it's unreal. Andrew, like we said, we had one of the dumbest discussions we've ever had on here. But I mean, did you ever get his autograph?
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever get the autograph?
That's a story, baby. That's I'll stay quiet for that one. But again, about the dumbest things we've talked about on this show, sadly, probably not even top 20 of the dumbest shit we talk about on this show. No. Maybe the dumbest baseball argument.
Been doing it for a while, man. Doing it for a while. But again, it's just a simple thing. Just again, you got to enjoy life and think about it. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. Start living like it, because you're not guaranteed to be here tomorrow. So enjoy the life, because you never know what's going to happen. Because it's just a simple thing like that, and he's gone way too soon. Yeah, sucks. It really does. Either way, there's some other stuff in the chat here. We can talk a little bit about Craig Kimbrell, because Frank, you're finally back. Speaking of insane discussions that we had,
multiple legendary discussions.
Yeah, multiple legendary. Frederick's saying in the chat here, do you think that Craig Kimbrell even sniffs the opening day roster?
I'd say a sniff.
Yeah, if he's able to get the numbers back up, or is there a competition in spring training? I think that there's an opening on the roster because you have an uncertainty with AJ Minter. You have, I think, Huascar Brazaban has a minor league option left.
Still?
How
many
options
this guy has? I don't know.
Still got another option. 50 years old, still got another option.
Because it's like, I mean, the way I look at it is that when you look at the bullpens, like how many like guarantees do you say? Like we'll say like Williams, Weaver.
I don't think Kimbrell's a guarantee anymore either.
No. But I was saying like as far as like right on the Mets roster, you'd say like Williams, Weaver, and Rayleigh have 3 spots. Who else would you say is like a guarantee they're on the roster no matter what? Myers, okay. Or you can say Myers 4.
Yeah.
Then
Luis Garcia, maybe he gets first crack, but who knows? Maybe he's not that great in spring training.
Is he older than Kimbrell? Because like God,
Kimbrell's up there.
Yeah,
Kimbrell's up there. I see this as the biggest win-win, not just because it's a minor league deal, but it's more of the fact of, okay, if he's good, bullpen gets deeper. Obviously, the bullpen is a lot better. If he's solid, he could be a middle relief guy. We're not relying on him to be in the 9th inning, right? But if he's not good. Yeah, you never know. Who knows? But if he's not good, we also get to witness a guy who has tortured the Mets get completely lit up in games that don't count, right?
I mean, so in a very limited sample size, he was good this year. I mean, very limited sample size.
He had some decent stretches, yeah.
But also, like, Stearns this is the one thing he nails is like the minor league deals with pitchers. Like last year, he hit on all of them basically.
Justin
right?
Hagenman,
all of them.
Brandon
like,
Waddell.
So, like this, it doesn't feel like a traditional Stearns move to where like he must see something that like they could tinker with or something that maybe he found. I mean, he did end the year in Houston. You know that they could have found something.
He's throwing and he's adding a pitch. He's adding the changeup. That was the thing Martino was yapping about. That now he's adding the changeup to his fastball curveball. So at least now, again, he has to.
Of course, Martino, this guy who's been in the league the whole goddamn time and who's been damaged goods recently. Oh, this guy.
Got the change.
There's something here. Yeah.
Because he has to start. You know,
he still grades out okay above average. Like it's a 102 stuff plus on the, again, this is a Jeremy Marinaccio scale, obviously. Still good enough location. The pitch ability's obviously come back down. He's walked a lot of batters recently.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, he still does have the swing and miss stuff. He's just got to locate and apply it. That's pretty much it. And it's a minor league deal if he doesn't do it. It's whatever. I think that if he doesn't make the roster, or if he's told that he's not going to be made the roster, he's just going to opt out of his contract and go somewhere else, which is the main reason as to why I'm not putting so much stock into it yet. But if he does pitch well, more the merrier,
Hall of Fame.
I guess. And he's a future Hall of Famer as well. He's we finally got him, Frank. I mean, 3 years later than you wanted him, but hey,
almost a decade later.
Listen, Kimbrel has a history of driving me up a wall. So
that makes him
whatever.
my favorite. Like,
yeah,
someone's got Phil McNeil shoes.
That makes me my favorite, but we don't have much committed to him, so it's whatever. Yeah, he's quite a he comes into these moments where it's inconvenient. That's one of those things. I think so. But listen, he's had good years. He's had bad years, similar to what we saw with David Robertson. I mean, David Robertson's had consistent years, and he's also had some rough ones as well. I mean, we'll see. Kimbrel's worth the gamble. I think so. On a minor league deal, absolutely. Why not? Nothing bad about a minor league deal, right? Nothing bad. One more thing that was here from Michael earlier on. I don't know if Michael's still in here, but talking about Senga's velocity. Senga, actually, I have two more things. But Senga's velocity, they said he was up to 92. And listen, this is spring training we're talking about. But however, Senga, you've gotten extra time here, dude. A lot of extra time. You got a minor league rehab assignment at the end of the year. You had a great offseason, according to David Stearns. I'm just saying, like, if you see a Senga that doesn't look as sharp after like the third start that he has, and again, I know that we're kind of sitting here probably overreacting at this moment. Maybe he's not going full force. However, Senga, the clock is ticking, buddy. It's ticking. Like, I would have agreed to moving him this offseason. I talked about it before because I do have this fear that, at any point I'm going to hear he has this soreness. He has this. He's put back this last week. Andrew, I mean, I don't want to put you on a complete rant because we don't have so much time here, even though we're already in the overtime here. But it's just like he was at 92. Obviously, they said he had a good offseason or whatever. He already said in an interview saying, my goal is to stay healthy, not get injured. So at least he's self-aware, but easier said than done, especially with Senga, who's struggled with that in the last 2 years. Andrew?
Yeah. We know. Again, I'm not going on a 15-minute rant because I don't have it in me to waste time on this guy. Again, I'm gonna give him a nice firm handshake, and maybe he's got enough. Maybe once I shake his hand, maybe I'll just realize that he is just as brittle as he is. 92 on day one. I'm not gonna lose my. I'm not
break his arm. That's fine. 15 million down the drain. Who gives a shit?
No, again, I'm not.
That
Again,
report
it's
just from like Rhino breaks Senga's arm on the
Rhino
60-day
trampled.
IL. Like
written by Andy Martino.
It would fit the
Tito.
injury history of like most like.
Yeah.
Would you
crazy
be shocked?
things.
He ran into a rhino. Oh, that's tango for you. Again, I'm not gonna lose my. It's his first bullpen, 92. Again, I'm tired of it. I would have cut bait, and the fact that we heard that report, like, oh, don't trade me. Okay, we didn't trade you. So again, I'm not gonna lose my stuff. We'll see how he fares in real games, spring training. Again, I've moved on. I wish they would move on, but he's here, and we got to support him, and hopefully the sport doesn't disappear like he does.
Kumbaya. His first spring outing is going to be 5 pitches, just 5. And then we're going to go to 6 the next, 7, maybe 9 in the 4th one. Frank, what do you think about that? 9 pitches in his 4th spring start. I mean, that's a big workload.
Uh-huh.
If you guys can't tell, we're a little we're a little pessimistic on this one. Let's just say that. And Daniel Caps here saying less than 100 subs away from 3K. I didn't even realize that. We are. Make sure to subscribe. If you guys are here watching on the TilMetsDoUsPart channel, again, thank you to John for joining us. Make sure to head over Mets Weekly, subscribe to us. Turn on post notifications. We are live every Friday. Speaking of Friday, next Friday, we are going to have a very special guest on here that I'm very excited for. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But either way, there's just one more thing and then we'll get out of here. There was a slight backside comment from our former pitching coach, Jeremy Hefner, that a lot of people were talking about and getting very, very angry about. Listen, we could plead our case here where he basically said that other team up north or whatever. But you're not hot shit. You're just not. And we've already talked about it. We've already talked about how we're like, he's not special. You've helped 4 pitchers. 4 pitchers have had career years under you in 6 years. Okay. That's it. That's all we got. Okay. So I don't want to hear it. If you guys want to add anything on this, it's just one of those things that I don't know if it was the complacent attitude that even if it was from him that we needed to get rid of. I don't know. Cause he was there for 6 years. It's just like, I mean, come on, dude. Like we get it. And I'm not trying to get completely angry about it. Cause yeah, he's now our rival technically. And he's from there. Maybe he wants to be down south, whatever. But it's like, this is the team that drafted you, developed you into a major league starter that wasn't even that good, brought you back as pitching coach. You survived so many different regimes, and you refer to us as the team up north. Not even New York, Queens, anything. Okay, I see how it is. All right, cool.
Yeah, I think, there was leadership concerns about the Mets organization. There were potential clubhouse issues. And it's like, you see how both of these, like, lead assistant coaches on the pitching side in Hefner, and obviously the former hitting coach in Eric Chavez, like, the way they've behaved this offseason, I feel like that tells a lot, too. Like, if you have, these are your leaders. Jerks. So, like, I mean, like, what kind of vibes do you think is going on, like, with the players? Like, I mean, are these guys you want to play for? Guys who are not, like, good guys? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm not going to say the word I want to say that would describe it a little better. But, just, like, overall, it's, like, really? Like, how old are you, dude? Like, you want to be petty? Come on. It's just... It's not necessary. Like,
maybe it's feeding into the rivalry, which I'm all good for. But it's like,
I mean, you don't hear Stearns
when that's getting
or
press,
Mendoza saying anything about Chavez, saying anything about Hefner, but they just can't stop. Especially Chavez.
Yeah.
Like every minute, this guy is just on it, constantly.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. He's always got something to say, like we always say, and it's just like I just don't know. Like, where exactly do you get off? Because, like, as I remember them giving Hefner the most leeway as a player and a coach. And he wasn't even that good as a player. So I will never get the fascination with him. I thought he was fine. I thought the players really liked him. It was okay. But 6 years of, well, I developed this. Sure, dude. Sure you did. Meanwhile, you have all the organizations who don't have the resources that the Mets do under Steve Cohen, who are pumping out pitchers like crazy. Tampa Bay, we talk about them all the time. Houston, we talk about them all the time. The Brewers, they don't have the high payroll, the high resources, and you still, every guy that they brought in, it seemed like it was just an underperformance, or the wheels would fall off, or you weren't going out to the mound. I mean, it just... ridiculous, completely ridiculous. I mean, and again, who knows? But my response to Hefner straight up would be, I would care, but I walked to first base because that's all you did. That's all we did. Just walk, guys. I'm gonna walk to first base instead of talking to you. That's it. It's just ridiculous. It's that certain mentality, like we said, even hearing the stuff about Nimmo complaining about the captaincy, and Pete Alonso, the just one game, bro, and this and this, that, and Jeff McNeil's Jeff McNeil, the Eric Chavez. It's like this was what was leading your organization, and everybody wanted to bring this back. Everyone wanted to keep going. Sends a message, it really does, and it does send a message as to the guys they brought in, who are notorious clubhouse guys. So. Again, who knows if it'll be better? Who knows if it'll be worse? I have no clue, but a change needed to be made. And these guys are proving that it had to be made. Ricardo saying, always thought Hefner was overrated. Yeah. I mean, who knows? And it could be for different reasons that we think so. It's just, I don't know. I think, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and completely talk about him even as longer as we already have a lot on this show. Either way, we've gone over the 3-hour mark. Usually we go 2 hours. But let us know, guys, in the comments or whatever, or if you guys like this new format, anything that we could possibly improve for the viewing experience. I feel like it was just long overdue to just move things out and just, change things up a little bit. And like I said, special guest is going to be joining us next week. Really excited about this one. And we also have, of course, spring training games coming up. Plenty of fun. And thank you to John for joining us for 7/8 of this show. I think it was like 2.5 hours he was here for. And I'll give the stage to you guys for any closing remarks. Frank, I'll go to you. Welcome back.
Thank you. And, next week, first game, it's here. Yeah. So I don't know if they're really going to add anybody else at this point. I feel like this is kind of what they're rolling with. And it's interesting. Like we said, they've added so many guys, and it's going to be up to some young pieces to step up. I mean, whether that is Carson Menge, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos, like they are relying on some young, Nolan McLean for sure. Like there's going to be some young guys who are penciled in. So, we'll see which one of them work out. And then, like we talked about, if you had like Ryan Clifford during the course of the season, or Jonah Tong is like back in the mix, we'll see how that goes. But overall, it's going to be a big year for the prospects. I think is ultimately what it's telling us. They've totally changed the core, so it's going to be the first. I call this like the first true like Stearns year. Like this is Stearns' team. I mean, outside of like Lindor, these are basically the guys that he has chosen to roll with. So. And we'll see if it pays off. So it's going to be very interesting. And obviously the Lindor thing is going to be big too. Like we talked about before, he has slow starts. Will he be back on the day? Even if he's back a week after or so, like how long is that going to take to get him going? Because if you're batting him leadoff in front of Soto, like we know he's what gets the team going. It's like he's what sets everything up to have everyone else kind of just like follow his lead, and then everyone else kind of does their thing. So it's definitely going to be very interesting. But overall, like it is finally here. We're back.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a long off season, a lot of turnover. Seems like we always have a lot of turnover every single year. Maybe this is the last time where we see a lot of turnover. Maybe it'll just be slight turnover next year. Maybe we find some consistency. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Because I'm tired of going to the playoffs every other year. All right? Let's stop flushing money down the toilet, even though we're going to get a lot of money from a casino. Andrew, you said you're going to be going down to spring training next week, right? For the opening, workouts, the intra-squad games or whatever they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, full squad report on Tuesday, because again, we've seen most of the guys are down there. There's still a few guys that have not reported. Again, they'll be back there down there Tuesday. I'll be there Wednesday, and I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I will probably be back at the airport before the first pitch of actual games being played, and on my way back down to Missouri. But again, I'll be down in a few days. Get to see some guys, and just have some fun. Again, get down to warm weather. Baseball's being played. Again, don't crush Japanese hearts. It's gonna be fun. Again, baseball's back. Olympics are going on. Life's good. Again, we're baseball's here, and we're all ready to get hurt because that's all this team does.
I think it's going to be different. You got to believe, right? I think it's going to be completely different now. The losers are gone. I mean, there's one loser that I want to get rid of. Okay. Let's end it off here. Thank you guys so much for watching this extended version of our show that usually goes on. But hey, we wanted to talk, and we like talking. One thing that we really, really like. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation live in the future, make sure to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel. Turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok. Follow all of us individually. The links are in the description, including our special guest, John Saponaro from TilMetsDoUsPart. Thank you once again for him to joining us. Make sure to go follow him. And finally, let's go Mets. The final week without baseball games being played. So we're going to make it through. And we will see you guys next time.